What's up? Just me or the shadows in here a little worse than usual? Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name's Peter Howard at PA Howdy on Twitter. This is a DLF live stream and also to anywhere else that will let me click the button to send it to. So I've got no idea where you're watching, but if you've got a question, comment, complaint about Dynasty Fantasy Football, drop it in whatever comment box that platform has, and we will get to it at some point. We usually hear about 3 hours every 9:30, every Wednesday at 9:30. Me, Dynasty Outhouse, and I don't know why I always say Russ's name as his Twitter @ but I always say Zach Reed as Zach Reed. So the Dynasty Outhouse and the Tacit Assassin and myself answer questions for about 3 hours every Wednesday. Off season, no off season, on season, point season. I don't know. I don't know if it shows through, but I'm not exactly with it ever. But especially today. But I'm really excited to be here with you guys, Zach and Russ this week. I got nothing. I thought if I vamped, I'd come up with another quote. I will say it's week 4. So last week, we thought we could start making rash early decisions to try to decide if we should win or lose. I guess you play to win the game is the quote. And by week 4, if you don't have a good idea of if you're winning or losing, you should get one. If it's on My Fantasy League, go to reports, standings, power rank, check your all play, check your points for, check your average points out. More importantly, look at your roster. Are you surviving on 1 week blowout games that aren't likely to sustain? How about the 3, 4, 5, or 7 teams in front of you? Are they sustaining, or how many of them are sustaining their points for or their all play by 1 week blowout performances? How many are dependent on players who are now injured that are now no longer going to be there, such as Cordell Patterson? Sad. And decide if you're winning and losing. This is a rough dynasty year, which just means we have to dig in even harder to the trends. So if you don't have a good idea, if you don't know if you're winning or losing yet, get one. Tuesday's already gone by, which is trade day, but it's still not too late before Thursday when lineups start to lock, before you can make some moves, and you really have to start making some strong moves. You play to win the game, but in Dynasty, sometimes winning is actively trying to lose harder. So it's time to decide. Well, it's time to decide last week. This week, it's like catch up if you haven't already, I guess. I didn't queue this up. That's why I've got an extra few seconds here. Welcome to the Dynasty Grind. Well, hey guys, how's it going?
It's going well, Peter. It's going well.
It is going indeed.
It's going in some fashion. I appreciate the feedback.
I feel like my lighting is off this week. I'm very dark.
I feel same thing. Like it's catching or something. Like we all look different this week. It's week 4. We're all tired. None of us slept in 4 weeks. We've just been grinding fantasy football for the people. Obviously, don't have lives. We just did.
I've been preparing for this show for the past 6 days.
Exactly. No sleep.
Like, you see, I was so overtired and overworked that I gave myself a migraine half hour into this show.
I know, man. I appreciate you managing to make it back, to be honest with you. You were doing okay this week? You doing all right?
I'm alive. Still kicking.
Glad to hear it. Audis 66 was actually in here way too early. He was in here at 8:26, if you can believe it or not, asking about a 12-team Superflex PPR league, start 10. He wants to know if Dobbins a second in 23 seconds or Breece Hall. And I think the answer is just Breece Hall. It might give you, I was going to say you like Dobbins a lot.
I do like Dobbins a lot. He's good. In a game where he didn't look great, he still put up 20-something points. He still showed his ability to get touchdowns. He caught a couple of passes, and he's going to start looking better. Not to say that Breece Hall isn't good, but in a couple of weeks, months, these two are probably going to be very close in value. So give me the 2 seconds.
Yeah, I still think I'm on the Hall side of this, but I get it, and it's closer than it was 2 weeks ago, but that was really buoyed by 2 touchdowns. I mean, Dobbins had 13 carries, 4 targets, which is a nice game. But I think Breece Hall is going to be a running back one. I mean, he got 17 carries. He got 6 targets. He started to kind of overtake Michael Carter, put him back in his place as I'm sorry. But he's done that. He has usurped Michael Carter. He has leapfrogged him, and that's what we expected of Breece Hall. And the cool thing about Breece Hall that J.K. Dobbins doesn't have is Breece Hall's quarterback is not Lamar Jackson, which means he's not giving up, 75 to 100 yards rushing to somebody else on his team, which Dobbins is. So that's and I get the seconds, I get the love for Dobbins, and this is not to say Dobbins is bad. Dobbins is great, but Dobbins is like a high-end running back 2, as opposed to Hall, who is also a high-end running back 2, but with a fairly nice ceiling of a mid running back 1.
It's not that close for me. It's Hall. I think he's a different value tier, even if they're similarly valued. But the thing I would say is I don't get the trade. I don't know who does this and for what reason. Like, if you want to win, Dobbins and Hall are both pretty good this year.
Yeah,
I think Hall's got the edge. But like, if you don't want to win, why would you trade for Dobbins in 2 seconds? Why not go trade for a first or a wide receiver, even if you're not trying to capitalize on maybe the high? So that's the only thing I can say about it outside of what you guys
all that believes in Dobbins more, and if they think they can get something on top as well, why not?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But
yeah.
All right. Yeah, you could say that if you think Dobbins has a ceiling and you want extra, you're wrong. You're giving up the ceiling for those extra 2 seconds. Like, I don't
want to be so harsh about it.
That's what strikes me as odd about it. Again, I can be wrong all the time, but I'm going to tell you what I think. Randy Wyatt, what's happening, fellas? Thanks for the show. Appreciate you all. No problem, Randy. Appreciate you taking the time to say so. He also asks, 14-team Superflex, he sent 223 seconds, a third, and a 25 second. Okay, for Mike Evans, clear win, I think. Right? Yeah, it's a little rich.
No, it's not.
No, so in a trade calculator, it's rich. Like, so if you start putting pieces in a trade calculator and you look at what Mike Evans is worth in a trade calculator, yes, Randy, you paid a little extra, but in reality, seconds in a 14-team league for Mike Evans is an absolute win. Mike Evans is going to continue to be a wide receiver 1 this year, potentially even next year. Like, he's good.
He's very good.
Mike Evans is good.
Yeah, I was talking to Matt Price, the Dynasty crossover, which has posted, but they're updating how it goes out. It's a whole thing, but and so some people haven't got it. And I was everything he was saying, I understood mostly. He's pretty smart. But every now and again, we'd come to a play we both thought was a buy, and he'd be like, "Yeah, if I send the guy a second." I'm like, "You're not." I know it's something like an old school, like Matt Price is been around a lot longer than me, knows a lot more than me, but like it used to be you could get an Antonio Gibson for a second right now, and I'm like, I don't know if it's my leagues or just keep trade cut market in my head, but I'm like, you just don't get that if you don't include a first right now. That's why it's a bad dynasty year. Like, you're not getting James Robinson for a second. You're not getting Antonio Gibson. It doesn't matter if they're ranked outside the top 15 running backs right now. We know their volume is good. We know how running backs work as a group now. And we know the 23 class is what it is. Like, no one wants a second for those guys. They'll get a second plus, maybe, if you're some, like... And that's what this strikes me as well. It's like seconds and thirds and a second in 2 years. Like, in my head, you walk away stole Mike Evans. Like, I get that these are things that if you're good at trading, you can trade. Like, if I get that to Dynasty Outhouse, he comes back and goes, I got Jalen Waddle. And look, I got all these great wide receivers and a couple extra firsts from that package you gave me. But, I mean, I try with trades, and I'm not that good of a trader. And with those seconds and thirds, I get Rondale Moore, these last 2 years, and I maybe get Greg Dortch if I'm really lucky, because I liked him in the 3rd round a couple years ago, if I hang on to him. And then in 2025, I draft my very best David Bell in the 2nd round. Like, I love these players, don't get me wrong, but you're talking about, I know, it's just like a different value world sometimes. Not you, Randy, but I keep getting struck by this same thought of, am I too high? Because I always get told my trades are too low. And some of these values that swing around, I'm like, what? CeeDee Lamb is suddenly worth less because of a 2-game sample. Young, good, high drafted, 20 expected points per game. But then Mike Evans is trash now because, literal. Sorry, I'm going off on this a little hard, but value really scares me sometimes. Just when I think I get my hands around it, everyone's like, "Oh no, that great player is worth nothing." Okay, go to bed.
We just say that to mess with you. We don't really mean it.
Benjamin Siegel. What are you willing to pay in picks for Melgo? A second. That's the type of running back you'd pay a second for. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 year rental. Javonte Williams probably out. I still haven't heard, but for a while.
Yeah.
He heard, from what I can hear / see, read. That's the word. He hurt his knee worse than Dobbins did, and did it 2 months later.
Yeah. I'm not getting into that value thing.
But they also just signed Latavius Murray too, right? Off the Saints practice squad. I read that?
Yeah, I've got.
I mean, like, so they're not like, oh, what we've got is great. They're like, all right, well, we need to do something for veteran, in case Melvin Gordon and Boone don't do what they need them to.
What happened last week? People who watch the game with Denver, because Russell Wilson scored me positive points for the first time, I think, in Scott Fishbowl. And did they turn the offense around? Was it working very differently, or was it just a better game script or something like that?
Devontae got hurt, so they finally had to pass the ball.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Were they forced into it? I don't know.
Maybe they'll realize that that's what they should be doing.
Chef Russ.
Okay.
No, that phrase is dead. Let it die.
I may have to trade Justin Jefferson in a league because I want to win.
Can I have him?
I just lost.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
That's the thing. I
may have to trade Justin Jefferson because I want to win,
but I got no picks. I just lost Cordero Patterson. I got 3 or 4 really great wide receivers. Justin Jefferson is the best of them. No, that's the thing. That's why it's a bad dynasty, and no one wants to take the shot on their 2nd round pick guy like Rondell Moore right now. I found someone, if you add a first, will do it, or Talbot, or David Bell, or even Traylon Burks. Those that have struggled, they're like, nah, I'll wait for the next class. I'll take my 2nd,
Yeah.
Because everyone's so interested in this coming class, probably fairly. And so, like, if you're trading to win, you quickly run out of picks because you only get so many. And so you're looking at your roster, and no one's going to give you 2nd round value on your prospects unless they really like them as well. So it's hard to match up. And so instead, what I've started to do is go look at my studs. And I got Justin Jefferson. Can I break him up into an older good wide receiver and a running back to try and win this year? And it's like, I know not to do it, but I want to win. Like, this is, I know, because anyway. And I mentioned that because Don't Tase Me Bro, 19, nice, has a question about Justin Jefferson and Gerald Everett or DeAndre Swift, Garrett Wilson, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Yes, super Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's like really easily.
Yeah.
I get that you're probably thinking I need a running back, but not at that cost.
Thinking I need a running back in Garrett Wilson has shown out a little bit. But he hasn't shown out like Justin Jefferson.
There's no there has to be a better way where you can just get and go send a 2nd for Melvin Gordon, right? Like, go get cheap old dude. Don't sacrifice Justin Jefferson for DeAndre Swift, who will have the upside of being the RB1 if he could ever stay healthy for more than 3 games at a time.
See, that's the thing. Swift isn't even starting for the next few weeks. So if you need a running back, there's better targets.
Or if this is the other way around, and like you're sending Swift, Wilson, and Pacheco for Jefferson,
then yes,
I do
do
that.
it. Do it.
And plus, Everett is scoring a lot of points right now, so that's also awesome. So yeah,
who's just giving away Gerald Everett as a plus when you're already getting Jefferson? Like those 3 for Jefferson, I'm like, I can see how someone might be like, oh, okay, maybe. But Gerald Everett's gonna do things this year.
he's doing things.
Yeah.
Doing things. So yeah, it's a Jefferson side, and if I was a Jefferson owner, I'd feel slightly, perturbed if someone sent me this. Like it doesn't look like enough, and especially, and that's the thing.
I'm getting feedback.
I am not.
I heard it. I don't know why though. I got nothing playing. Especially right now, it's like I'm trying to trade in one of my leagues. Bateman's what I've got to trade away because I don't have first. I've got young players and I've got point scorers, and Bateman's the one that's not. But like I can't try this week because Bateman just had a dud after a dud, and it's the same with Wilson. Like if you're trying to trade away Wilson right now, this ain't the week. Like Corey Davis went off last week. Like, but wait until people were, because he has established he's elevated to the NFL in my mind. He's done well enough through the first 3-4 weeks, but not everyone wants to make that rash of a decision. Over the last 2 weeks, I've seen him do nothing, and so now's not the time to try and get good Garrett Wilson value. I don't know why I keep just talking on and on about a simple question, but here we go. Jared Goodman, currently 3-1 in second place. Who's an RB that I should try to acquire? Terry and Godwin. For Terry and Godwin. Again, I don't know that's the best way to go about getting running backs this year. Sending seconds is the go-to, but again, I don't think you can get Gibson. I don't think you can get James Robinson. Get those if you can. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, despite being higher scoring than all of those guys, people think it's too efficient, and he is efficient, but he's working in an efficient role on an efficient offense, and he is the most consistent part of it. And this is a pretty common top 12 breakout year. I continue to believe that his value is soft because people don't believe it, but it's going to keep going, and so you kind of get high scoring at
low cost
value, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like I don't want to say low. But yeah, I think he would be an interesting trade target because the guy rostering him might not believe in his points as well. Outside of that, yeah, Melgo's a good one. Leonard Fournette.
I mean, you're talking pretty low value for Terry or Godwin.
That's the thing. I wouldn't. That I'm talking who I would look to add rather than what I would send both of those for. I think this is I wouldn't send Godwin in a dynasty trade right now. I don't think you're going to get what I would want for him. Terry, maybe, but even then, probably have more value if he gets.
But you're looking at a range, Peter, where like you said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're looking at Aaron Jones and hoping he continues on in this year, or if you prefer Dylan, then do that. Like that sort of range of running back. You probably could have 2 weeks ago done Damian Pierce. I don't know after this past week where everyone's yelling and screaming about him.
Probably not.
You probably can't. But like,
that's try Clyde Edwards-Helaire even at the same value. To be honest with you. So yeah, and the other play, like we got lots of running back is once again ass this year. We're in that slump. Pardon me. But there are still a few players that stand out, and I mentioned a few of them that aren't necessarily trading for Godwin plus Terry value, and that's where I go. Like, Khalil Herbert is just a rushing running back, according to last week, and he was disappointing, especially for those looking at the Jamal Williams owners. But the volume was kind of there, at least decent enough. It was like he should have scored 13 points. He scored 11. And next week, he goes up against an offense that ranks a lot more mid against fantasy points allowed to running backs. And so it might be a good time to try and pry that away.
Kind of surprising how few targets he's gotten.
He got 2 once, and every other game.
1-1-2-1. He caught every single pass thrown to him, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's basically a handoff. But no, but we also know he can do that. I do think there's a chance.
I think it's weird.
Especially after we saw him get the role last week. David Montgomery's still out. And so whoever's rostering might be like, oh, this isn't going to happen. And so Khalil Herbert's a lower value one than I might try for.
Like, if you're dead set on getting rid of Terry or Godwin, I think the combination of guys we talked about before in Dobbins or Hall is really, honestly, the only places I would look.
Do you think you're getting if you could get a Dobbins or Hall for either of those, McLaurin or
also depends what the plus is.
Yeah,
but the problem is that's what I think of Terry and Godwin. I think if I'm not looking at who I consider around that RB 10 to 12 area with some upside, again, depending what that plus, but
right.
That's what I want if I'm getting rid of those kinds of wide receivers. My wide receiver bias, those particular wide receiver bias also. But I think I go back to what I said at the beginning of this and what Peter has been saying this entire time. Find another way to get a running back.
Yeah. I think
make
Breece
it be Jamal
we
Williams.
all want. I question whether we get him, especially after, like you say, he pushed Carter back a little bit. Yeah. But again, you should try it first. That's a good point. I always forget the, try for the A target first. And I always go, I wonder what the C and D targets are. I would say Joe Mixon right now should be the highest scoring running back in the league. Like, I'm not, like, his volume is running back 1 right now, and he's doing nothing with it. He's got like 41% of the team's rushing targets. He's the reason T. Higgins actually looks like, despite having 26 targets over the last 3 games, he's actually not getting a lot of value on those targets, and he's outperforming his volume. So he might not be starter ready every week for the rest of the season, is a concern I have. But again, it's only 4 weeks. And he keeps underperforming it. I don't mean every answer I give to be a monologue. I'm trying to shut up. I swear to God. I think Joe Mixon's a good target.
Might have to try hard.
Could have the points value that would pay off this kind of price, but it's a bet on this year, to be clear. Yeah. Here you go. I'm just gonna read it and you guys can talk. How about that? D Magoon, 10-team Superflex PPR, 1.5 tight end premium, start 11. He's in talks with the Breece owner. Sounds very official. I like it. Who wants my 23 first?
No.
It will be the 101.
No.
Wow.
There's no reason to get Breece Hall on a team that you're earning the 101.
Yeah. And not giving him my 101. But he does have other 23 first. What 23 first pick is a cutoff to trade for Breece? And it is getting to that point in the season where you can start to expect, you kind of know who the top 5 picks are. Again, we should have a good idea of where our teams are at. We do have a pretty good idea of who the top 5 picks are right now. So
here's my thing. Since we don't really know exactly what's coming in 23 and in what order and where they land and all of that stuff, I'm going to assume there is going to be 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, and at least 1 wide receiver. And I'm going to say 2 just to be safe, that I'm going to probably fall in love with. And they will be the easy top 6. And that doesn't leave room for whoever that QB 3, 4, and 5, if things play out the way everyone is saying it will. So then we're talking, are you going to take Breece Hall, who will stumble backwards into being a top 5 running back after this season, most likely, over...
Harsh words. Karen.
It was the same thing with Javonte last year. Like, there's no one really else to put that high up. Yeah. Bijan's going to be the RB1. Mm-hmm. And... But, who's the RB1 right now? No, we don't have time for this. I put it
I think it's a rookie. I don't even know who the rookies are, and I think the Dynasty running back 1 for a while has been a rookie for next year.
I put out on Twitter, if you were to do a 1 quarterback startup right now, what pick would you take the first running back, and who would it be?
No,
the common answer was, can I just take Bijan?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a Saquon Barkley year. The running back one's going to go in the first round.
My running back 1 right now.
Yeah.
I don't care about his age because you're going to get at least 2 years of production out of him. And he is showing he's the only one with league-winning upside. But that's not the
conversation. And if you're out there right now, like Jonathan Taylor and stuff, I mean, just come back after the draft. See how you feel. Like
I
make
never
a
bought
note and
into
then come back after the
Taylor
draft. We
running
are
back one.
remarkably good at predicting this kind of thing. Not necessarily winning for myself, these guys maybe, but knowing who's going to elevate in value after key points in the season. You guys on the grind tend to get that right, from Elijah Moore after the draft to, I think, Bijan come July is going to be the running back one, first round drafted in Dynasty leagues.
Like we're looking
and if
at,
you can anyway use that information right now, use it, because I really think that's solid. I think that's going to definitely happen.
we're looking at like Zeke and Saquon type stuff where they were first round startup picks.
Yeah,
or
that's
if you're
what I mean. I think
Brian Harr, Sick 101, which he stood by and he did. But back to the question itself, honestly, if you're rebuilding, I don't go after Breece Hall anyway. Or if you do want Breece Hall, there's no reason to do it now. You will be able to get Breece Hall for a 23 first at probably any time, short of Breece Hall finishing this season as a top 3 running back, which I still kind of doubt, even though I agree. And I'm sad that he is looking good and pushing Michael Carter back, because I do still love me some Michael Carter. But
so
maybe
you would,
have
if you
to give
were
up with the 105 instead of the 109. But if you want Breece Hall, you're fine doing that anyway. But I would not do that now, because if this class is what it's supposed to be, you won't want to give any of those up. And if you're rebuilding, there's no reason to have a running back now anyway.
Yeah, Russ, that's absolutely the answer. The answer is wait. The answer is, if you are earning the 101, which it seems like you are, then you don't have need for Breece Hall right now, because Breece Hall is going to score you points. He's running back 17 right now. He scored 54 points in the first 4 weeks in PPR.
Unless you can taxi squad him.
Yeah, and
that's not against the rules. Check your bylaws.
Depends on your particular league setting. So Russ is absolutely right. Like, this is a trade that should be there by the time this rookie draft comes around next year. Like, Breece Hall should be attainable for a first round 23 pick, because people are
Can
still.
I ask it?
Yeah.
No, sorry, I keep doing that. Okay.
Do it. Ask it, Peter. Ask it.
Actually,
No,
wait.
can I ask it more generically? I think
I will be back this time. I will be back.
You will? I'd be sad if you don't. I'm just.
I will be sad
that
if
matters. Not that matters.
It does matter to me.
Good luck in your draft.
He hates me. What I was going to say. I'm going to ask it more generically, because I understand there's a question behind this question, which is, where is the cutoff in this draft? And the thing is, I don't know this. Like, I'm not joking. I've heard Bijan's name. I know a few JSN, but I have no opinion. Like, I'm trusting the Devi community pretty hard at this point. Because I think those guys are pretty sharp. Travis May is sharp. I know to trust. But generically, a top 5 pick in general is where the best hit rates are. Right. Even in a good class. Like, look at the last few classes. I mean, it's not there weren't other hits, but outside the top 5, it was hit or miss. And there were still some misses in the top 5, but that's kind of my generic cutoff. If we talk about the question mark, where is the cutoff where you're looking at a player is worth a random first, but then when we start to get an idea of what the top 5 picks are, like, I'm not trading a top 5 23 pick for Garrett Wilson, and he's worth more than a first right now. Or Elijah Moore, or Devontae Smith. These are players I actively want to trade for a dynasty, and they're worth more than a first. But since I'm getting an idea of who the top 5 teams are now, I'm going to estimate to there. Like, I think I'm going to hold top 5 picks just generically as I get closer and closer to a draft, and expect more than just one good player, like a Smith, like a Moore, like a Breece Hall. So that's kind of my rough cutoff. But again, I think Outhouse is normally right. He normally is. You probably shouldn't trade for Breece Hall right now, but yeah.
Well, and I think that the issue with worth more or less than a first round pick is not standard currency. Like, it's not like you can sit there and go, this is what a first round pick is worth, because a 23 first is worth a heck of a lot more right now than if we were back at this point in time last year, a 22 first.
We would have just said yes. This wouldn't have been a conversation.
And so like, so like it's this interesting because not all classes are created equal, which means not all firsts are created equal. It's an interesting thing, and to me, yes, the top 5 picks are in most classes. You're pretty happy having a top 5 pick, and you don't want to part with them. I think this class is probably a little deeper than that. I mean, we don't know yet. We don't know. But I think it's a little deeper than that. I think you're seeing. So, everybody who wanted to push James Cook up into the first round this year, and everyone they got excited and they drafted James Cook. Jahmyr Gibbs is what everyone hoped James Cook was going to be, and will be drafted like that by the NFL. So it's going to be this. There's going to be. I think it's probably it's safer to wait, but I think it's probably outside of the top 6 or 7.
Can I put it into our metaphor here? There may be a boat, but you've gotten to see a brochure. It's not just a mystery box. They actually showed you some pictures. I mean, it's still just pictures, but you do have some physical evidence.
Yeah,
that sucked, but I'm gonna go with it. Randy, I'm pretty sure I read this in advance because it made me chuckle. I'm pretty sure it's Evil Genius. And do that more often. He has their first for the team he's trading for Mike Evans, so this makes their first better.
Even better.
That's kind of 9th level 3D chess that Outhouse plays. I never think that way. It's a good way. Good way. Sent Pacheco for a 23-second.
Yeah,
solid.
Good.
Pacheco who? Delusional Tanner. Would you trade Dobbins and Traylon for Pickens and a 24 first?
No, I wouldn't.
Dobbins and Traylon for Pickens and a 24. No. Traylon should still be worth a 24 first. Dobbins for Pickens. I think that's okay.
But it depends on where your team is. It depends on what you're. But I still think I would rather have 2 years of Dobbins and Traylon Burks over Pickens and a 24. The 24 first is nice, but that's way out there. I know now's the time to acquire them, but this is not necessary. What I like to do with the 24 first is what I would do is package 2 players who are probably worth seconds and go get a 23 second and a 24 first. That's how I would attack this if I was not tanking but tanking. You don't have Traylon Burks. Would you trade your 24 first for Traylon Burks?
It's a tough question right now. Right?
No, so I don't think I would.
But
right
I like
now.
the idea.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm in.
I don't think I would right now.
Okay.
Because
he's going to be out for a while. Not much can change.
But he's got the potential to flop and flame out and not be worth a 24 first by 2024. If I've already rostered him, I'm hanging on to him.
Yeah.
But
if you made the pick, you ride or die until there's a value market, unless their value holds. Like Sky Moore for a little while there had the same value.
Yeah.
And was looking a little rough. Traylon Burks' value was always a little shaky because there was the whole Drake London conversation. Weird. So I don't think there's ever been a good time. Just hold. Yeah. Anyway, or Traylon and Dobbins for Pickens, straight up. No, Jamal Williams and a 23 second. This is another one I don't understand. Like Dobbins and Jamal are both points plays, but they're on the opposite sides. Like I don't.
Right.
Make a trade on one thing. That tends to be where I feel more comfortable.
And I think what they're saying with this one is they want Jamal Williams because they have Swift, which again, that's not. I'd rather have Jamal Williams on a team where I didn't have Swift. But yeah, so it's
trade Monty for a second. There you go.
Well, so you got to figure out delusional Tanner. You got to figure out what you're doing with your team, because that's I think this is where we're at. And Peter, we talked about it last week. This week you definitely need to know where you're at with your team. You need to, because this is where you can actually make some hay with trades. So if your team is doing well, if you've gone and looked at your potential points, you've gone and looked at your all play, and your team is or should be successful, then go start to add player. Don't trade Dobbins, but go add other players who are going to score points. If you are,
I'm the crazy man on the crossroads, I guess, but I would trade Dobbins. Like if I could get Pickens for Dobbins and cut out the rest of this thing, it feels like he's trying to get rid of Treylon. That honestly is what he's not winning and he's just trying to get out while the getting's good. And I think he got a hole, but trading Dobbins for Pickens seems like a better dynasty move straight up.
Yeah, but I think Dobbins scores more. Like if you're looking for points, because again, we're in the season where points are being scored, which means that yes, you've got to think about the future, but you also have to think about the near term. And if you've got a chance to win, I'm going to hang on to Dobbins and win this year, as opposed to Pickens and hope that he matures into a wide, which I think he's really good. I think
he's a good player. There's no doubt on that. Yeah.
But I've also heard a couple people run out real quick the fact that like in the second half of the game with Pickett, he saw a 37.5. I'm like, look, it was literally half of a game where they brought Pickett in like in the middle, like let's relax on the target share on half of a half, but.
No, I see someone talking splits, especially within a game. Just like, don't be mean. You don't have to block or unfollow. Just maybe mute. They're feeling their feels pretty hard at that point. I don't know. And to be clear here, Delusional Tanner, we didn't like either of those trades. But the reason we're talking about them so much is to give you some idea of what, depending on what you might want to be, what you're trying to accomplish, that might help you find one that you would, because I will think with these comments, and that's why we talk about them so long. Because you ask a question, then we're like, no, or yes, and then you're like, oh, but what about this other idea? And so we try and talk around and give you an idea of what our answers would be in other variations.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's helpful. Benjamin Paul, give Pitts and Judy, get a first 23. Hockenson, AJ Dillon. Which side do you like? Ooh, that's pretty good.
4 weeks ago, the value was on the Pitt side.
And it feels like Hockenson just going off for 40 points. Like, again, wrong time to trade for Hockenson. Yeah. But, like, I like Hockenson maybe a little bit more than anyone before last week. And AJ Dillon... I don't mind. So damn good, and it's frustrating.
I don't mind that as a get out of Pitts. Yeah, I think you get a top 6 tight end back, not a difference maker, but we haven't seen Pitts be a difference maker either. I don't want to break news on here, but like
that one game wasn't enough. No, I think what it is I'm on the Pitts and Judy side, but if you are not willing, like Pitts has been this is fair. If you just want out of this nightmare, this is good. I keep Pitts and Judy.
I'd prefer Dillon to Judy, and then Hockenson and a first and Pitts is close enough. Like that's, I don't.
I'm probably trading Judy for something, but I play value. It sucks, but this trade makes a lot of sense. And so if you're just like, I'm done with this, bro, I think that makes sense, but.
Did you see
my stupid ass process is my stupid ass process, and that puts me on the Pitts Judy.
Did you see my tweet this past week about the fantasy football tight end flow chart?
Are you Mark Andrews play?
Yeah, is he Mark Andrews?
Anyone else? No.
He matters. Is it Kyle Pitts? He matters to someone in your league. That's
nice. And is he Kelsey? He's probably who should.
He's scoring points, so he matters. So like and then that's it.
That's it. Zach Ertz is the discount that wasn't discounted. That was a problem this year. The discount tight end you were looking for, everyone knew about.
See, I got him really like round 10 or 11 in the Scott Fish Bowl. It was great.
Nice. No, I feel like we knew about Ertz, but again,
I felt like I was stealing. I was like, man.
Yeah,
they don't know. They don't know I've got Zach Ertz.
I was too in love with Pat Fairmouth most of my drafts this year. I was like, I got to take that guy, which is working out all right, to be fair, especially Dynasty wise.
You missed that one.
Zach Ertz was the guy.
Hold on, you didn't get Recovering
Yeah, I did. I
Ridley
skipped.
Don't skip.
I'm coming back. Recovering Ridley Truther. Welcome back, my man. Friend of the show. Yo, gents, in a 12-team, 2 tight end premium, PPR Superflex, all-in contender. I like the energy. Would you give a 24 first? Yes. 23 second? Sure. Conklin? Hell yes. And Bateman? Okay, got interesting for Diggs and Claypool.
Can we get something that's not Claypool?
Yeah, that's the thing. The Claypool has no value to me, so this is... Again, the elephant thing, Zach says, this is a 24 first and Bateman for Diggs for me, which I think is...
I think it's still Diggs. I'd take Diggs, especially
Diggs.
if I'm an all-in contender.
Yeah, it's still Diggs, but if they're willing to add something that's not Claypool, I would do that.
Yep.
But yeah, you should go get Diggs. Yeah, it's a simple answer. Would still have another 24 first, not worried
Lamar,
about it.
Kyler,
go in.
Yeah.
But no 23. I feel you. Lamar, Kyler, you're good. Stocked at quarterback is the way to do it.
Yep.
Do it, Ridley Truther. I dare you. Robert, what percentage of fab on Teddy B? Tour owner here. Is it Dynasty? I gotta ask. I assume it is because of the Dynasty grind, in which case, all of it.
Yeah.
There's not a great waiver claim this year through the first 4 weeks, which is unusual, and there'll probably
Cooper
be a better
Rush
one.
Was the great waiver
But
claim.
assuming this is Superflex, assuming this is Dynasty, Teddy should probably have already been rostered anyways. And at this point, I'm not gonna wait to see if there's a better ad. I mean, you can go less than that if you want to save a little in the tank, but don't. And I'd rather make 0 bids than miss out on the one I wanted for keeping a little extra to lose other bids later, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'd go as high as you think you need to do to win, and I'd go 100% if I had to. Yeah. Again, Teddy's not going to win you nothing, but it's a quarterback, and hopefully Superflex. If it's not Superflex,
don't. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I'm that worried. 12-team, is this the same question? Nope, different question, same league. Stafford at 24 first, at 23 something round.
It's got to be a third.
It's got to be a 23 third, and he didn't push the button twice yet. Yeah. Get Dak and some thirds. Other QBs are Russ and Jimmy G. Give Stafford on a first. Get Dak. Yes, I like that in the Superflex. Yeah, I think Dak's a target. You're a contender though, so it's a little weird. But Dak's
Stafford has been objectively bad. Finished in the back half of the 20s in 3 or 4 weeks in terms of fantasy points. I think
a contender or not, I like this trade. Is where I'm at.
I think Stafford is hurt. I really do. I think they had some concerns with his elbow in the preseason, and they kind of downplayed it. I think this is going to be one of those where at the end of the season they're going to be like, Matthew Stafford gritted it out all year, and he's having, surgery after the season, and it's not going to surprise me that's
he's a
what
gritty player.
Yes, absolutely. But
I mean, he can still hit Cup 20 times a game, so we're good. But I think he might be right. But yeah, I mean, contender, not contender. I think getting Dak for a 24 first and Stafford, which is what this kind of
I'd rather have
is a good trade. I would do that. Tim Shady, sup guys? Who's your top 5 dynasty running backs? A rookie?
Bijan, yep.
Probably a couple of rookies, but I'm not willing to go there where I don't know the class. But there's at least one rookie: Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, not in order, by the way. Swift, Javonte Williams. That's 5.
You said, but no Saquon.
That's a good point.
I mean, again, he's 25 and a half, 25,
which it doesn't concern me. I don't,
because I can make arguments.
Do you think Saquon's drafted ahead of any of those guys in July? That's the question I'm asking.
So
myself. That's how I determine.
He's not going to be drafted ahead of Taylor,
Bijan or whoever.
He's not going to be ahead of Bijan. You said Najee. He may be ahead of Najee.
Yeah,
He may be ahead of Najee Harris.
I think we can get Barkley in the top 5, and I want to. So yeah, we'll take Najee Harris out. I want to keep him pretty close to there because I think people are fading unnecessarily. But definitely put Barkley in it. So yeah, let's take Najee out and put Barkley in as third overall. All about winning. Where was CMC for you though? Like I'm tempted to put him he's him and Najee are knocking on the door.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, like he's right in that because again, that's it. Man, Baker's so bad. Mayfield is so bad. But like, eventually they're going to figure out that okay, we need to throw the ball. We can't just hand the ball off to McCaffrey. We're going to have to throw the ball to him too. Right. And perhaps DJ Moore also. And maybe that will help. Throw the ball to your good players.
Yeah, I think tiers are easier than top 5 right now. Top 5 dynasty running backs are lower than they've been 3, and we've been here before. This isn't like, oh my god, we know what's going on. That's why we're putting the rookie in the top 5. Like, just be aware. There's value is going to be in running backs this offseason because of the fall of running backs over the last 4 years, actually. But you don't have to value them too high because you know everyone else is going to be lower. Thomas H. Eckler and a 23-second or Breece Hall, 10-team 1 QB. Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
But it's not as far off as, but especially Dynasty, you're looking forward. Breece Hall is going to give you similar production to Eckler-ish and be much younger.
Yeah. He'll do the same in the next 2 years, whereas not so sure about Eckler on that. Yep. Eric, 8-team, so just studs. I just want people that everyone know their names. PPR, just reminding myself, 12-team Superflex. Start 12 Superflex, sorry. 2023 second and a 24 third, which means nothing in an 8-team to me. Damien Harris and a fifth.
A 23 second, the first half of a 23 second is a back.
That's a good point, actually. I did that backwards. Yeah, 23 seconds worth technically more. I don't think I'm trading for Damien Harris in an 8-team league.
No.
It's probably just
even start 12. I mean, like he's been fine. Like he's been a top 20 back, but you can find top 20 backs pretty much everywhere. So I mean, there are 32 teams, so 2/3 of the backs are top 20. That's what we do.
Some teams have 2 of them.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's pretty close.
Friends even. Sorry, my back hurts. I have a seasonal question. Cool. Would you trade Travis Kelce?
Summer. Oh, sorry. I thought we were going, what's your favorite?
Would you trade Kelce for Josh Allen and Kittle? It's got to be a non-super
yes. Even it doesn't matter. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, all day. Josh Allen is a bigger difference maker without Kittle than Kelce.
Yep. So this was back to my we have. I don't think we've talked anywhere like out of DMs with this, but like I've started to look at single quarterback dynasty leagues.
We've talked about it on here, actually.
Oh, have we? Okay.
Well, you explained it, and it's a good idea.
I wasn't sure if we'd actually talked about it outside of DMs, but like to me, though, the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like it's such a difference maker, and because it's dynasty, it's year over year. Mm-hmm. Like that actually makes a difference. So when JJ Zacharyson did late round quarterback, he's looking at like redraft leagues and it makes sense. But I do think that once you start talking about dynasty and you gain that advantage year over year over year, man, that
I was talking about that on the next week's episode of the Crossroads. I was talking about your idea, and I said it told me what I was doing in some dynasty leagues where, because of the state of dynasty right now, like we've talked about, I've traded a lot of my value into the quarterback position, superflex or not, because I want to trade for points and I want to win, but value exists, and so you're always trying to balance the two. Here's the thing. I don't care how good this next rookie class is. There is no Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, or Josh Allen in the next 5 QB classes. There isn't one. I mean, there might be one, but the idea you're going to predict it or that you should expect it to me is a little ludicrous. We don't get that many.
What are you talking about? We just got Trey Lance. Oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I put my value there. I'm scoring points as difference maker, and I know I can get that value out pretty much at any time. Now, the last time I tried this, and this is what happened the last time we had this cycle, by the way, Andrew Luck, RG3, that's kind of how that whole period started to fall apart. And I traded into Andrew Luck, and I got caught by it. I don't expect that every time, though. So it's not foolproof, and that's all I'm saying. But it has been an edge I've been trying to exploit for a while.
And the other cool thing with and I'm in a couple of one quarterback dynasty leagues. The other cool thing is you can spend a second and get whoever the best quarterback is.
Yeah,
like that's so. I in one league ended up with Mahomes and in rookie drafts, and in another league I've got Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott, because Lamar Jackson was a second round pick, and then Dak Prescott was on waivers in the preseason. Right. And I'm like, because
even Trevor Lawrence seems to be paying off. If you draft him in the second round 2 years ago,
and so he
doesn't even have to hit that height. Yeah,
and I know that a lot of people that watch here play Superflex, and so quarterback is already pushed up value. But I think, to me, looking at, and it's funny because in Superflex I devalue quarterback because everybody else is.
Yeah, exactly.
In one quarterback, I'll go around ahead of where somebody would take Allen just to get that advantage for the next. So I don't know. It's a little different.
No, I hate to do the zigzag thing, but it's what you're always trying to do, and it's always the last thing anyone tells you, because by the time everyone's figured out the best zag, it's been done for a while. Yeah. Now there are some like late round QBs. JJ Zacharyson literally found one that took forever for anyone else to accept. So it was this great edge for a while, but the Konami code everyone picked up on pretty quick after Rich Harbour started to point it out more strongly. And so that value got sucked up pretty well. But I think that quarterback one, look for where tight end and quarterback both do have little extras. Those top two at tight end, the Kelsey for the last 4 years, or the top five at quarterback, not value-wise, but actual points. You can find a little edge there now and again. I like it. Zulu the Witch wants you to know that she's shouting you out for spreading positive energy on the timeline. Not something I've ever done, so it's good that someone out there is doing it, I have to say. All three of you boys bring so much to this community, and it's greatly appreciated. Salute. Thank you, Zulu the Witch. I don't think I'm two boys. I'm pure negative energy, but I do appreciate you. Thank you very much. Norris Designs. Oh, sorry. Did you want to address Julie?
Well, just like, to me, I think sometimes people get caught up in like scrambling for the scraps of the attention or what. To me, look, you shout out good content. You shout out good people. You point out where people are making strides to advance this community, because eventually that lifts us all up and it makes everything better. And so that's like it's not. I'm not doing it for me, Zuli. It's not like when I shout people out, it's because, man, they're doing some good work, and I appreciate it. So
awesome. Norris Designs. My running backs are Brees and ETN and JK.
LOL.
Yes. Even though ETN hasn't worked out, he hit his floor, right? He's the most expensive, higher drafted backup running back you could own, but he has got potential. It's fine. But yeah, should I trade JK for a 23 first given the opportunity?
Depends on what you're doing this year. Like, yes, in a vacuum. But
we can start to ask.
Yeah. If you want to score points this year, like Dobbins is going to be a pretty good high-end running back too.
If you can start to play that meta game of estimating the first.
Yeah. And that's
If you're looking at top half first, I'm honestly considering it. I have to feel pretty good that it's a top half first. But it's borderline because Dobbins is good. He's going to score points, like Zach was saying. So you got to make your own decision, but that's the rough guide I would have for myself. Winning, losing, Is it a top half first? Okay, I guess. It's a running back. I don't need the points. I'm happy to trade them away. Sean. Back-to-back champ just sent a 24 first, a second, and a third for Fournette and MT. Interesting. Don't hear a lot of MT talk. In a 14-team league, one quarterback. May seem like a lot, but 3-peat would be nice. Winning is literally the point. So, we're on board. Let's 24 first and a second, and basically sending his 24 draft for Fournette and MT. I don't hate it. That's 2 years to try and find more picks and other trades. I don't mind trading away or trade for 24 first. I mean, I think they're a little underrated right now as trade assets because you don't have to wait 2 years and they don't have the hype of 23, so they're a little easier to go both ways. It greases the track a little bit. And like you said, you're trying to win. I get it. I'm not going to say if these were the best as if these are bad targets, but they're good. They're good. I mean, we might be more excited about some, but it looks like you've explored your league and you found the best you could do to get points for your 24 draft value. So no, I think that's fine. Honestly, I think the value is fair too. Zully the Witch. The Dynasty cycle is the Twilight Zone for death. Is that maybe? Hey, look who came back.
I'm still alive.
How'd your draft go?
I was able to steal T. Higgins from Scott Connor, which felt great because I got my boy. And I was able to pick up Tyler Algier.
Oh, nice. Which actually is probably going to be a thing at this point for
it
a
only
couple
needs to
weeks
be for this week. Because, it's a week-to-week thing.
Yeah.
And, every week there's a team that's eliminated, so all of their players go into the draft pool. I had the perfect amount of picks where all of the players from that prior team got picked, and then it was my turn. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll go. I mean, Tyler Joe sounds good.
I have to go grab a drink. I'm glad Russ is back. I'm getting a little parched, so I'm going to abandon you, but let's find a question for you to talk about first. Sure. Also, I have, this is, by the way, Sean just traded basically his 24 draft for Fournette and Michael Thomas in a win now move. Don't know how you feel about that. But he also says, I have other owners 23 first. So he has 23 first draft capital. You're fine. Honestly, I think that's a pretty solid move. Do you ever consider that when trading aging point scorers for teams who has their first round pick? Yeah, that reminds me a little bit of what Randy said earlier, where he traded for the best player on the team where he owns their first round pick. It's a little metagaming, but it's a very Russ move. Like
I did that this season, actually. Yeah. In Trade Addicts 1, I had this guy's first who looked like it was going to be the easy 101. And then some jerk goes and trades him like Tom Brady, like a bunch of older point scorers. And I'm like, no, why would you? But I have what? So I made some trades where I gave him some draft capital and I took some of the points. And then I may have given him like Matt Stafford, instead of someone else that was good. So absolutely, if you have someone's first, you do whatever you can to make their pick better for you.
Well, and I think that always comes into play, whether it's you own somebody else's pick or you have your first. Like when you're making trades, that all matters. That should all come into play because
about making your team better.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just a straight line. It's not linear. Like there are other pieces moving.
Find the edge you can find.
Yeah. Didn't you want to go?
I love this comment, but I do, but I don't want to just leave you on a Hollywood fire time comment. I love this comment. Like seriously, like Baltimore.
we could just read them out loud. And they won't get the screen.
I didn't know if you had control of it, so
I don't. But I'm saying we could just read them out loud.
There you go. By the way, Broncos fan here. Melvin is a running back 1. I think that's a little underrated right now. But yeah, Boom will get rotated. But Hackett said Melvin Gordon is a guy, and Out in the OC said Melvin is a guy. You know
don't
what?
trust
I
any
say
of
Melvin
them.
is a guy too. Everyone
He
says
is, but yeah.
I don't know he's going to have. Then again, neither did Javonte have the upside we wanted, but I do think that's fair. It's actually pronounced Mel Gore. I apologize. Thank you
Did
very
you
much.
see that? The Scott Fish tweeted that out today. There was some article that had him Mel Gore, and I was like,
Mel Gore.
that doesn't fit the meter. Yeah.
Mel
Brian,
Gore
I have to get back to you on that.
monster. Nice.
We don't talk about Mel Gore, nor.
I'm pretty sure this is a question about war.
But what's really funny is
but
the
it's
character's
also
original
wins
name was
above
going to be
replacement.
Oscar.
Yeah.
It was going to be Oscar. So
I
it
have to look
almost
at
does fit. Like if his name did stay as Oscar, and Lin-Manuel was just like, wait, but I got this song and I can do this. So why don't we change his name? And they're like, okay.
Bateman or Jameson Williams? Bateman.
Someone showed me something today that they're just not going to rush back Jameson at all. So,
which is good.
Which, yes, is absolutely weirdly good for the player, but not great for his value, in which case Bateman is good. He's on a, I mean, everything that we said we were worried about, we're worried about it still. But so, like, that's not going to change, but Bateman will still, his value won't tank. But
No. Do you think Dan Campbell is worried about their 2023 first round pick? You think he's playing the Russ Dynasty game where they hold Jameson Williams out and
there's no reason to rush him is what it comes down to. It's like all the times Christian McCaffrey got shelved. It's really just because why bring him back?
Yeah.
All the times AJ Green just didn't come back at the end of the Bengals seasons. Like there was just no reason to come back. And while I'm sure he wants to, but they'll probably get him in the last like 5 weeks of the season just to get some gameplay under his belt so he can go into next season as his rookie season.
Right.
There's no reason to bring him back sooner at all because they don't want to win, but their offense is really good.
Wow. I mean, they're scoring 30 points a game, but they're giving up 35.
Exactly, right? So there's zero reason to bring him back any faster than they should, which makes me sad because I read like yesterday that it was looking like week 5 through 8. And what day is today? Wednesday. We did the DLF trade show, Addison and I, and we talked about Jameson Williams because I thought we were being clever talking about him like 2-3 weeks before he comes back. And then the Campbell comes out and says, not for a while. And I'm just like, well, Dan, thanks for ruining my
Took a walk, got a drink. This coffee tastes awful, by the way. I should have gotten a different drink. It's been sitting there.
I'm very sorry for this roller coaster.
On the way, listening to you, listening in like a little perv. I realized something about this question annoys me, and not Jason's question, but the whole Bateman value here. Like Bateman was worth a lot more than a Jameson Williams not long ago, and I spent all off season telling you, the volume's not going to be there, but the player's definitely good. Yeah. And feeling like I was awkwardly trying to have both sides, have my cake and eat it too, but trying to explain this is what happened on Marcus Brown. This is what's going to happen. And through the first few weeks, I was like, Bateman's got that. Again, Bateman's really good, but I'm telling you, the offense runs through Lamar Jackson, then the running back, then the tight end, then the wide receiver. That's literally right there in the way they're using their players. And then he has his first bad week and everyone's bailing. I'm like, no, look, talk about being early. I told you about this 3 months ago. And everyone was like, yeah, but I still think he can do it. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't disagree with Bateman's value because he's a young, good wide receiver. Why would I not like that? But remember that when it happens, because you don't want to panic sell away and you want to target him when other people realize this. We're 2 weeks into people realizing it and we're trading them away. Like, no, I got 3 months notice of you on this. You could at least me do the favor of remembering what you knew 3 months ago to argue against that he wouldn't be bad right now. Like, trade for Rashad Bateman at this random 22 first is basically what Jameson Williams is worth. Value. Don't trade away. Just to be clear, Jason, like, I don't know which side of this you're on because we've never asked to specify that. But I would do this the other way. And not because I think Bateman's going to improve this offseason. Although he could, he's going to have good games. He's great. He did it the first week. Remember? Just 2 weeks ago. But Marcus Brown. The offense can change due to circumstance. And then eventually he's on a different offense. He's a top 8 wide receiver, Marcus Brown. But like, we know the player is good. I honestly don't have any questions about that. And not in the terms of NFL, like Gabe Davis is good. McCall Hardman's a good player. In terms of co-opting volume in the way fantasy wants. Like, it's literally just this offense limits even that ability. But the player's good. Jameson Williams, most maybe a boat I've ever seen in my life. Bateman, boat. Full-on boat that people should have known, because I told you, like, I got 3 months ago. And you were like, nah. And I was like, okay, but remember that we're both saying he's good when it happens. And now you don't even, like, you disagreed then and you're wrong, and you're going to disagree with me now and be wrong on it again? Don't. Like, you could have Marcus Brown right now. But instead, you gave him away because he was bad, because you didn't believe literally my rookie profile where the same damn thing happens. It's Baltimore. It's just what happens. Like,
Peter had the spyglass going, look, I see Sales. It's Bateman. He's a boat. 3 months ago.
I love Peter so much.
Like, I get a lot wrong. I do. And I try to own myself as hard as I can when you forget. But when I get it right, like, you can at least... I actually got you warning on this. Like, don't miss it, because otherwise it'll be 2022. But for Rashad Bateman, you're like, shit, I could have had a top 8 wide receiver. I'm like, yeah, you could have twice. Listen to me this time. Marcus Brown was good, and you all thought he was bad, and he wasn't bad. Bateman is good, and now you all think he's bad, and he's not. He is good. Like just. I get so little right. Let me have this. Believe me. I get so little right, like, this accurately. It's really hard to get something this accurately right. Like, just believe this one. Okay?
I am going to find a way. I'm going to just clip that for me. And if I'm ever in a bad mood, I'm just going to play that. And it just will instantly, like, happy tears. Well, he disappeared. Thomas H., would you trade a mid to late 23 second for Singletary as a 1-3 team? For reference, losing value on Gibson with Robinson return. Why would you trade
for a running back
when you're 1-3 team? Okay, if you're telling me you're 1-3, but you're like a top 3 scoring team, you just happen to have a terrible schedule. If you play in my fantasy league, reports, standings, power rank, go look to see how you stack up in, like, all play and potential points, all of that stuff in there. If you're not top half, even 4 games in, don't send a second for a running back. There's 0 point. I do like Singletary, though. I mean, if you are in that position where you've just had bad luck in your scheduling, because there is a lot of randomness in fantasy football, then yeah, cool. I would probably do that just to bolster your already good team and just say, screw you guys, stop scoring so many points. I'm going to try and score a little bit more. But that's a very, like, if you fit in that little window, yeah, otherwise I would not bother.
Yeah, I had to go. I realized I was stuck in a loop, and I was just not going to get out of it if I kept going. So I had to.
We knew you needed a moment to compose yourself.
Like, I was just going to keep finding new ways of tilting of the exact same point.
You know,
like, it's really, like, you know how people promise their profits
move on now.
And they get nothing.
You got out of it. Don't fall back in.
Every now and again, I'm like, that's virtually prophetic. And I'm
a third base guy. Just round it home.
I was waiting for him to break
Jake's got a question.
The Bateman spoon man. Bateman. Shotty B's got a real show.
Nostradamus got nothing on me. I'm just saying. Jake, I have Akers, Dobbins, Khalil. I mean, if he got one nearly that accurate, maybe the magic exists. I'm just saying. Jake, Akers, Dobbins, Khalil, Herbert, ETN. I have 223 first. Good job. And 523 seconds.
Nice.
I mean, racking them up. Is there a guy I should target? Not because of what you have, just in general, we have probably players that we like below and above value. Do you have generic players that you would target? I don't particularly want to trade away my draft capital just because, but there are players I like Bateman right now. But you guys, you got someone?
If there's, I don't think I move off Dobbins yet.
Russ.
I can't help it. Like, I think his value is going to keep going up a little bit. Akers, get whatever the hell you can at this point. If you can get a strong second for Akers, you jump for joy. If you want to move off Dobbins, you're looking like we said before, right? With that McLaurin and Godwin plus who for, like, look for that 8, like wide receiver 15, maybe a little too high, but like, screw it. That wide receiver, like 15 to 20 area, like 1-for-1 for Dobbins. I'm not going lower than that.
How much do you have to put with Dobbins to get to Amon-Ra St. Brown? Especially with him being nicked up. He missed last week.
I have done so many videos and whatever about Amon-Ra St. Brown's trade value, and I still don't have an answer. Like, I'm here. I'm ready to call him a top 10 dynasty wide receiver. I don't know. Let's put it this way. Try offering up Dobbins for Amon-Ra St. Brown and see what happens.
That's okay. So we're on the.
I don't think it will get accepted unless it's a weird situation where the, dude's pissed off that Amon-Ra got hurt and he needs a running back.
Right.
But if you want to just send and get it done, throw a second. Like, because how Zach feels about seconds.
You got 5.
Yeah, you have 5 of them. Go for it. But honestly, yeah. Start loading seconds, and if they want one of those firsts on top of Dobbins, I think that's too much. I still think that's too much, but I don't hate the idea of building around Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if you have to do Dobbins and what feels like one of your later, like the later of the 2 firsts, Amon-Ra and like a second back, and I'd be completely good with that.
And I think that gives you room to build because Amon-Ra St. Brown is both really good and very young.
22.
Yeah, so it gives you room to build. It gives you room to grow with your 23 firsts. It gives you room to throw some darts with your 23 seconds and hope you hit on another Amon-Ra St. Brown or something similar, whether it be a running back or tight end or quarterback. So like that's the type of thing that I would do. And with Akers, I mean, man, Russ said it. You go get what you can, but like I'm looking to get into like a Jamal Williams who's scoring points. Like that's what man. I'm buying into Detroit. What is wrong with me?
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming this person's rebuilding, which is why you would get off of Akers and Dobbins.
Right.
That's why I went straight to wide receiver.
Yeah. So yep.
But if honestly, if I could put Akers for Jamal Williams, I'd probably do that right now.
Yeah.
If you're trading these guys away, you don't running backs are about points, and you don't want their potential points or their actual points in Dobbins' case. In which case you do switch to wide receiver. That makes perfect sense. If I'm adding 23 draft capital to Dobbins, who's a good running back, who's at least top 24, then I'm going to go up. The one thing I would say is Amon-Ra St. Brown is like wide receiver 17 in DLF ADP, but that's a month behind. It's always a month behind. Keep trade cut. Not great. Not great. Mm-hmm.
The 104. Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 104.
Yeah,
Chase,
that's what I was going to say.
Jefferson. No, I lied. I picked first. Chase, Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Of course, that is literally one mock draft, but
well, that's the thing. He's 7th in keep trade cut right now, which isn't as good as ADP because it's a little too reactionary, but it does give you some idea of where your league mates might be. And if I'm going up for a guy that people don't want to trade away for adding draft capital to these running backs to go wide receiver, then it's CeeDee Lamb, it's Jalen Waddle.
Yep.
Above Amon-Ra, and I don't think the value is going to be that different right now. Was there another one? Debo.
I also don't hate the idea.
He's a little older. He's like 25, but I think he's in that tier.
Who was that again?
Debo.
Oh,
again, you're trading for points, which sucks because you don't want points. But like, if I'm going to wide receiver, those are the guys I'm looking at that high. And I think you're adding a first, not a second, unfortunately. And I think I would do that in Dynasty if I don't want the points.
I'm with you. I would do all of these things, but also with Dobbins, I think there's no rush to go do it. Akers, get out.
That's fair. That's fair. The others I don't think get you near that tier. I don't think Akers on a first gets you anywhere near there, or Khalil Herbert, or even maybe ETN. Maybe ETN, but probably not. So you're trading for what your league mates are willing to get the best offer you can, and if you're trading away points, that's what you should do that with running backs. Maybe not Dobbins, because it would hurt Russ's feelings, and literally no one in the world wants to do that, as far as I can find. I keep asking, no one's willing to hurt Russ's feelings willingly, so don't do that.
You should just ask me that, because I'm always willing to do it.
Yeah, you're the only guy in the world that doesn't like
Too dark?
you. Is that not?
Too dark?
Is that not weird? Like, my life, seriously, I can't stop finding people who like it. And to be fair, I agree with them, so it's fine. Recovering Ridley Truther. If you could visit any stadium in the NFL, I have no interest. I like stadiums, I like places, I like things, but it's not like on a list. I don't have it as. I'm fine.
See, the thing is, like, I would like to go to Lambeau, but like in August. I want to go there in the cold. So, and I feel like that defeats the purpose. But like, I mean, yeah, I don't really care. I don't.
So I've got the answer to this. All right, the answer is Kansas City. And again, I don't care about going into the stadium, but the barbecue at the tailgate. Yes, please.
I'll take
because
that.
like if I'm gonna watch a football game,
yeah.
like I've been to one NFL game live, and I watched the Trinitron the whole time because that was how you could see what was going on. Like you could see like highlight because I was way up. I mean, I'm not. I was sitting in the nosebleeds. I'll own that. And it was at whatever they call Foxborough now, because it's not Foxborough. So it was in New England, and it was the opening game against the Bengals. The cool thing was I was up high enough so when they motioned Welker out, you could see that nobody went with him. And I was like, that's a zone. That's a touchdown. This is going to be a bubble screen. That's a touch. And everyone with me is just looking at me like, what are you talking about? And you're ruining it. And they threw the ball to Welker, and he scored a touchdown on a bubble screen. And I was like, but the rest of the game I watched on a Trinitron. So it's Kansas City for me. I don't even need to go into the stadium. I just want the barbecue. I just want
I think that's the best answer I could come up with.
Stadium in Baltimore, and I sat at the bottom row of the top section behind the end zone, and it really just felt like I was playing Madden. Because it didn't seem real enough because we were kind of far away. You couldn't really see like the definition of people, but you could tell it was people. So like I'm sitting there the whole time just doing this.
Well, now, and if you'd ask me baseball stadiums, like I could roll off baseball stadiums that I want to go to, and I don't necessarily care about watching the games, but I'd love to be at. There are like 5 or 6 bucket list baseball stadiums.
See, that's the thing. They're not. I can't think of any that will have bucket lists. So mine would be like, which ones that has a good food? That's a good answer, but also is near a place I would like to see. Like, it wouldn't be the centerpiece of my trip. I'd be like, I would like to see Boston again. And if I went to the New England Stadium, I could also probably see Zach and Russ a little easier, and that would be cool. So, like, that's the only other answer I could think of.
The Roomba would be interesting to see in Vegas, just to see the stadium.
There you go.
Have you seen that? They take the grass. It's on rollers. They take the grass outside to grow it, and then they bring it back inside the stadium.
Really? To grow? I mean, I know I've seen fields be moved before, but I didn't realize that they would do it to.
Well, because it's it's dry, like air, like really air, like dry, and so they like bring it out, they like water it, they grow it outside, and then they bring it back inside.
That's funny
because it's a like a real
the
turf.
Absurdity of modern life.
It's real grass, but in a dome, so it's just kind of cool.
We started off just playing on fields, and then we're like, well, we also want a stadium, and then we got to a point where we're like, you know what, we'll just fucking bring a field in to the place we want every now and again. That's just weird.
And they did the opposite in
modern life's absurd.
In England, they covered up the grass field with turf to play, and then everybody got hurt. I was like, oh, that seems dumb. But anyway, sorry, I digress. It was a good question, recovering Ridley Truth here. Got us going.
Mr. Moore, hello, gents. My team is 2-2. That means little. I mean, seriously, I mean, you could be top of the league, bottom of the league, all play, check rosters and stuff. But thanks for letting us know. It gives us some context. I'm not saying you should have told us more. I'm saying just so you know.
He does. He says fourth lowest scoring team.
I'm getting to it. Fourth lowest scoring.
You can't chastise him for giving you the information.
I wasn't. I was literally saying I'm not. Anyway. Time to sell assets such as Fournette and Waller. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Waller's a difficult one because Waller's going to be Waller next year. Like, there's not much to change there, but it depends what you get. But yeah, in general, definitely.
But
fourth lowest scoring team, probably good.
But I think with Devontae Adams there, Waller is Waller with a lowercase w instead of like a capital Waller.
Right. That's fair. Get your punctuation right, Mr. Mole. I have never anyway. Which why is no one talking about both Jameson Williams and George Pickens' favorite song being Fanito?
That's why we're not talking about it. Because we have no idea what that is.
That's going to be in Pete's stats next year when he does his rookie profiles.
Songs.
Yeah.
Don't let our youthful, energetic-looking appearance fool you.
Yes.
We're all old and don't know about new things, and they scare and confuse us. But it sounds cool. Yeah, that's why we're not talking about it. Anyway, we have no idea. Recovering Ridley Tudor. CH totally feels like this year's James Conner. Better than. I'm sorry, he's going to finish better, but that's me. I'm on my own. Everyone else calling for regression. And I get it. Is Marcus Brown worth a mid for 23 first? Exactly mid. Again, it's when you get that top half of the draft. But yes, on a win team, you really should value him there.
I'm not, but yes.
Okay.
If Peter says so, I'm not though. I still think like Marquise
Well,
Brown.
You did say though he's gonna keep being like a top 8 wide receiver.
I'm a little concerned with Hopkins coming back in week 7, Peter.
That's true. That's
like.
True.
A little. I think
they didn't go to college together, though. I mean, so
that's true. That's true.
No, that's probably a pretty good point. I'm just not letting go. Marcus Brown, yeah.
I'll be right back.
Sad again. Matthew Mulligan. I was happy again for a minute, and then he's gone. 2 big trades: Juju, Hockenson, Higgins, Hurts for Mahomes, Godwin, Waller. Then sent. Wait. What do we think of the first one? Or I'll lose track.
Juju, Hockenson,
Higgins, Hurts, Mahomes,
from
Godwin.
Mahomes, Godwin, and Waller. I think I would rather have the Higgins, Hurts, Hockenson than Mahomes, Godwin, and Waller. Hurts and Mahomes are close enough. Godwin, Higgins over Godwin, and honestly, Hockenson and Waller right now are a push. And I'd probably rather have Hockenson because he's younger.
I think you're getting an extra value because Mahomes and Hurts is Hurts, but they're the same thing to me. So I like it. Yeah, I'm on the Hurts side with you.
But right now it's Hurts and then Mahomes. If you're doing scoring, as great as Mahomes is, like Jalen Hurts is not a bad fantasy football quarterback.
No, that's what I mean.
He's not a bad
the way
NFL
it is.
quarterback.
But Mahomes is always going to.
Aren't they undefeated?
Dynasty.
Like, what are we doing? Yeah, okay.
Andy Reid. I don't know. something vague. Then sent Mahomes and Sanders for Kyler Murray, Lamb, Jimmy G, and a third. I mean,
the second part is fantastic.
That's how you flip. Yeah.
So you ended up with Godwin, Waller, Murray, Lamb, and Garoppolo for Juju, Hockenson, Higgins, and Hurts.
It feels like Russ needs to be here to explain all these cascading traits, to be honest. But from what I can tell, you vastly improved your team by trading name value, and I love it. And last week's Sanders performance, I guess.
Right.
To me, it looks like it's a walk-away win. Good job. Antonio Gibson plus a 4 in 24, which is nothing. For a second and third in 24. I mean, yeah, give me Gibson for a second and a third. That's fine.
Yeah, Gibson's trade value is nothing though right now. Like
I might have been wrong. Maybe you can get Gibson for a second. This guy did it.
I think so. No, I've got Gibson on a team where I am like the worst team in the league by far, intentionally. And I've got 3 or 4 23 firsts, And I've been trying to get one for Gibson, and it's just like I could have before the NFL draft, and then after that, no, I just can't.
Sorry, I had to challenge Ryan McDowell to a duel.
Did you win?
Cool. Did he?
Oh, no,
well, you ended up back. So
I literally we had call outs for who we're going to play
now?
next week, and I picked Ryan McDowell. So, I literally challenged him to a duel.
That seems like
Terrible idea.
Ill-advised. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
like, you're gonna go down,
It's
swinging
been
up.
fun playing
Right?
everybody. I'll see you next year.
Yeah. Been a fun ride. Ryan McDowell is gonna.
But like you got a little.
I
I got Tyler Algier. I'm gonna go after Ryan McDowell.
I'm coming for you, Ryan McDowell. Me and Tyler. Woo. Yeah. Carl Smith, thoughts on this trade? Gave up Pitts and Dubs for London and 23 first. Again, this is another, if you just want out of the Pitts thing, I get it, but Pitts is probably going to win this in most Dynasty evaluation. And Dubs is not a bad ad right now.
Right.
But it's fine. You get the 23 first, so I think that's good. Solid.
Pitts and Dubs for
London and a mid.
Man, remember what Pitts was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Like the fact that
that's what I mean. I would probably
get
hold
London in
Pitts
first
until it happens again this off season. But I get one and to just be done with this thing.
I don't know if you were here when we did the whole show about Pitts is a trade piece because people want so much, or you can get so much for him. But
he was barely drafted, and that's been the case since.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since he declared. But I, like the other trade we saw with Pitts, it feels like I'm done with this waiting value thing. I'm just going to get something really good, London, and even a really good value piece. I get it. But I think in Dynasty, if you run it through a trade calculator or any Dynasty analyst, they're probably going to be like, Pitts. Because the value is still a thing.
Man,
but I personally don't mind it.
This is hard.
Russ is fighting against his big value brain.
The thing is,
like, oh no.
Let's say Dubs finishes this season wide receiver 20-ish, but still walks out as the number one target for Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Drake London finishes RB 12.
Yeah,
and who knows who his quarterback's going to be next year? Is there that big of a difference in value between London and Dubs at that point?
Yes.
You still
Drake London was wide receiver 13 in Dynasty before the season.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't realize people were still that high on him.
I know, because I made fun of it a lot, and
I get his situation.
Whoa.
The best wide receiver situation you could have walked into, but I don't know. Okay, then I guess in that case, pay it. That's fine.
He has regressed the last 2 weeks where they're trying to get Pitts involved, but I really think, London's going to be a solid value difference.
Last week they didn't get anybody involved. I think it was two catches and one catch. It was
maybe if Dubs does well enough or impresses tape enough, he might start getting Jordy Nelson. Oh, he's a new Jordan Nelson, but I don't know if Dynasty's going to go for it. I won't. But they might. I mean, I'm wrong constantly. Did I mention how much I made fun of Drake London's ADP this offseason? Anyway. So your answer was...
Yeah, that was it.
Just my answer. Kyle, hope it helps. Zulu Witch, time to bust out Palantir Peter, who has more value in week 4 next season. I guess that's some reference to me saying... Yeah, sorry. Who has more value week 4 next season? Oh, it's Bijan. It's a rookie running back.
Bijan has more value than JT right now.
I don't know who Bijan is, but the rookie running back one is going to have more value than JT.
That's the rookie running back one, Peter.
In a month. In
Bijan Robinson.
If he doesn't already, and Has just says he already does. So, by week 4, unless he sucks, which I don't think, I'm guessing we're going to get that right. We get the running back one right more often than anything else, than the wide receiver one anyway. Even by week 4, that will be true. Eric, 23 second or DeAndre Hopkins? It's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
do I
what
want points?
Yeah.
Not necessarily old DeAndre Hopkins level points, but good. Like Amari Cooper points. I think that's okay. Probably get Amari Cooper for that, though, right? Can you get Amari Cooper for a second right now?
Maybe. Depends on your league.
You don't have to pay first for him.
No?
Cooper? No.
So, yeah, go get Cooper then instead.
But if Hopkins what you can get, that's fine. What wide receiver could I tear up on with a package of Mike Williams and Bateman? Also have Terry and Amari. I mean, you're not getting CD, you're not getting Jalen Waddle, you're not getting Amon-Ra out that tier, which puts me in mind of Marcus Brown.
I mean,
to be honest.
See, like the thing is, adding someone like Mike Williams to Rashad Bateman, you're not going to get very far. So like Rashad Bateman is wide receiver 19, assuming he. Let's be honest. Let's drop him a little bit. Like, do you want Courtland Sutton? You have Terry McLaurin, so that doesn't work. Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson. You want to try for Drake London? That won't.
I would take all of those over that package, probably, if I want points, especially.
Chris Olave.
Okay, yeah, that's probably about right.
I'm trying to just look around for names. Like,
I don't know. It does enough to Bateman to.
Yeah, you're
get
not
you anywhere above that tier.
I love me some Mike Williams. Hashtag Team Clem's a big wide receiver, but
you got to find that guy that likes Mike Williams.
Yeah, like that's
it's a bad dynasty year. That everyone wants. If you add a second to that, suddenly you're getting somewhere, maybe. But I don't think. I don't think
trade Mike Williams
for
a second, and then do Bateman in a second for someone, and you'll be better off.
Actually, you might get.
If someone doesn't realize that Mike Williams is doing pretty well because Keenan Allen isn't playing, you can sell Mike Williams for a second to that person, and then use that second to.
As much as I just acted like no one did, I think there are more people who recognize Bateman's more of a long-term play than the right there this year play, and they'll trade Bateman in a second, and they'll give you if they're not winning. If I had Courtland Sutton, I want Courtland Sutton this year, but at long-term dynasty, I want Bateman. So if you find a team that knows it's not necessarily in the top 5, you could get a winning wide receiver right now with Bateman in a second, but not Mike Williams. I think that's. Yeah, actually, I think that's pretty good. I think we did all right. And one interesting name, by the way. Sorry,
no, I was just saying, which is wild because Williams is a top 20, maybe 24, top 20 right now. Mike Williams is wide receiver 20 in PPR. Bless you. Do it again.
A second for that one to come out. Sorry.
I repeat his comment. D. Magoon, I see you, Playboy. Big up my. I think I'm reading someone else's conversation.
What is?
I don't know those words. I'm seriously not cool. But I really like Zuli the Witch, though. She said nice things about Zach earlier, so please don't take that as me saying anything but nice things. Eric, in the preseason, I traded away Cooper Kupp and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's it. And the 22-106, that's fine. Which I use for
I talked about this recently. Yes, I love the idea of trading away Cooper Kupp for Amon-Ra first. I mean, I wish it was a 23 first, but the 106, you probably would have gotten Pickett, who's now a starter that hopefully you could do something with if this is a multiple quarterbacks, or which I used in a trade for Lamar. Beautiful. You walked away with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Lamar Jackson. You win. That's fine. I don't care that Cooper Kupp is still the wide receiver 1 points wise.
I mean, I care if I'm winning, but Dynasty broad scope, that's definitely a win. If I'm really trying to compete this year, then I want Kupp. But I mean, this is a good way of getting.
You did not look smart. But
as someone who likes lower drafted players and was higher on them, I really didn't see the upside, and now everyone sees even more upside, which I guess I'm also not seeing that. But Amon-Ra was. But
we did the
big brain.
We talked about. So I've been officially on this show long enough that we talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown in season last year because he was being way overvalued in season, and we said. Between the season and the draft is the time to go get Amon-Ra St. Brown because everybody's going to be talking about rookies and again, I mean, these are. I know it sounds like
wouldn't have beat Zach. You did beat me, Eric. That's what I'm going with because I knew the targets weren't fake, but I thought it would be like I don't have an example off the top of my head, but yeah, Zach was right to trade for him this offseason, and so were you. Good job.
He's doing literally the same exact thing he did those last few games. Yeah. Literally 0.1 point less per game.
Damn it, it wasn't just those last few games though. Like he was up to 6-7 targets like before their bye week.
Yeah, but he wasn't putting
at the end of the season where he's having 10 plus.
But but that's the thing though, Russ, is if you're tracking things like Peter is and you're looking at, because we had this conversation in the DM where you asked, okay, what's the most, or what are you looking for? Are you looking for targets? You're looking for target share. Are you looking for, and so if you start to see the targets go up and you start to see the target share go up, even if they're not getting the catches and the points, watching that target share goes up, the receptions and the points follow that. Like,
you know what I haven't done in a long time?
What's that?
Those are just vacated targets because Swift and Hockenson were going to
I love it.
I didn't look that deeply into it. I've been doing I've done a couple of videos lately about St. Brown, and I happened to look into his points per game before breakout and after, and it was less than 7 in the first 12 weeks of the season.
Right.
And then from 13 on, it was literally 25 points per game.
But there were a lot of touchdowns too in the last. He had 6 touchdowns in the last 7 games or something like that. Like it was some ridiculous.
I was far too lazy to look into what those points came from. Yeah. I just saw the points and I'm like, I'm making a 3-minute video, so I don't care.
Nicholas J, should I trade Javonte Williams if I'm a rebuilding team? If so, what should I expect in return?
Okay, this is a really weird thing. Thank you. You unmuted me. I was never as high on Javonte Williams. Like I said earlier in the show, like he sort of moonwalked into being the RB5, even though he's talented. A team wanted a timeshare. Like there's not going to be that many workhorse backs anymore. So his value is way too high for me. And then he gets hurt. And I'm like, well, his value should drop. But like, are we really just selling him for any first? I don't think so. And then I go to record the DLF trade show today. And Addison was just like, any first, 23 or 24, I don't care. Give it to me to get out of Javonte Williams. And I'm just like, wait, really? Yeah? That's where we are?
And yeah, I feel like I'm zigzagging on Williams. I was with you this offseason. Here's the thing. The production wasn't there, but his volume was. He got he did the thing we were worried he couldn't do. And I feel conflicted not valuing him more than that just because the points weren't there when we talk about, being too reactionary to how it scores when really this player is good if you just look at the rock. So my question is, did anyone watch? Was he not getting points off his volume because he, ran into the back of his linebacker?
No, it's because he fumbled on the one.
Okay. It's just touchdowns, right?
What it really comes down to is it is week 4. And again, we said it before, he hurt his knee worse than Dobbins. Yeah, Dobbins missed about 14 months, which means you're probably out on almost 2 years of a running back.
Shout out to whoever was schooling me on Twitter. He also mentioned Saquon Barkley 2 years after his injury. He's finally back.
That was a high ankle sprain after the knee.
I will write off the high ankle sprain as a compensatory injury.
I disagreed at the time as well, but it's a fair point that we've seen other running backs dip for a while.
Saquon was finally starting to look like Saquon again, and then he steps on that dude's foot, blows up his ankle, and now he's Saquon again. I'm not saying Javonte Williams will never be Javonte Williams again. I'm just saying it's going to take 2 years. And that's a lot of time, and there's going to be 2 years of good rookies coming in. So it's going to be tough for him to maintain value. So that's where I started to be like, all right, yeah, maybe I do give him away for pretty much any 23 first at this point.
Here's the thing, though. When he
I don't have any. I have one.
Is healthy, and when the first training video comes out, I don't think you can get him back for a random first. So I think that's kind of selling low. but also I don't roster him because he was way too high. So I think that's too low. But I mean, I'm not rostering him. If you want to sell him to the guys who didn't buy in.
And Russ, correct me if I'm wrong with the way I would approach this, because I may be. I defer to you in matters of trade often. But if I'm Nicholas and I'm looking at, I have Javonte Williams, I'm a rebuilding team, I'm going to shop him to other teams who think they are rebuilding right now.
Oh yeah, that's the only chance you really have.
Because there's not, I mean, you're probably not going to get a first round pick from a team that's competitive, because that doesn't add anything to their value this year. So that's like, you've got a limited number of teams that you're looking at, but definitely shop him to those teams, because there could be somebody who wants Javonte, wants to take that chance on Javonte Williams and getting out of it. And Peter, look, I'll fully cop to the fact that in 2 years, you're not going to be able to get him back. In 2 years, you're going to be on to somebody else anyway. We're already on to Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs before.
And there's a guy with the first name Tank.
Bigsby.
I know nothing about this kid, but his name is Tank. So I should call him a man. I'm sorry. I got one offer for Javonte Williams in my leagues, and it was a team where I'm in a complete and utter rebuild. So just to back what Zach was saying, yes, you if you want to get rid of Javonte Williams, you're going to have to get it for teams that don't want points.
Nicholas J. also again. I'm rebuilding 1 quarterback, 12 teams. Should I trade Dallas Goedert, Hollywood, and 23 first? I like all of those things, so this better be good, Nicholas.
No.
Kyle Pitts is the next one.
Jahan Dotson, and a 23 second.
You do not.
I don't like any of those things.
No. I mean, like, Pitts is fine, but he's not he has not shown us that he is going to produce the way that he is valued. Hollywood Brown has. Goddard is fine.
He's rebuilding, so maybe he doesn't want the producing Hollywood.
So trade Hollywood then.
But he's trying. Look how much younger he is getting in this trade. But what's the value lineup in this? Hollywood in a first for Pitts, Goddard and a third for Dotson and a second. Like, I don't think this lines up anyway. And also, I like Dotson for the pure reason that Penn State pass catchers. That's literally all. Hashtag team plans and big wide receiver. I'm in on Penn State pass catchers, but the only reason that dude has value is because he caught touchdowns. Not because he did anything.
Yeah, he's getting 4 targets a week.
Yeah. I
give him one of the very few stable, usable tight ends that there are outside of the 2 or 3 that matter at all. If we include Kyle Pitts, you're giving a top 8 wide receiver and a 23 first who's worth more than gold right now in every trade we talk about. And the best they can give you is Jahan Dotson. No, give me something good. Kyle Pitts is nice. That I'm interested in losing the points and getting the value. Cool. Jahan Dotson isn't enough in this trade. That's the part that the value doesn't line up. That there's a Pitts for all of this. That's what that is.
Your league, I can't speak for what you can do, but I get wanting to get rid of Goddard and Hollywood on a full-on rebuild, unless you can serve. Your pick will still be bad if you can hold on to Hollywood, because he's only 26. If you can pull this into a 1-year rebuild with 423 firsts, you might be able to get rid of Goddard, hold on to all of your firsts, and figure it out from there. But I would separate these pieces and not go in for Pitts and Dotson. If you do believe Dotson is that guy, then this isn't awful. Hoping that 23 first you're giving out is going to be very late. Otherwise, I would just not move it in general.
He can approach every other team in the league. No one's giving him a second for Dotson right now, and he's trying to ask you to value him. Sorry, no. I'm giving you loss.
The way I did this in the end, Dotson in a second for the first.
That's terrible.
It's not great, but it lines up. And then
it's Hollywood and Goddard.
Hollywood and a third for Pitts.
Yeah,
If this was 4 weeks ago, cool. It's not.
Sean, if you like it, by the way, is always our answer. If you like it, you can do it. It's literally your team, man. If you're happy with it, you can do it. But as far as
look at that, Peter saying some
opinion
shit
that's worth nothing, but you're welcome.
That's what makes you happy. Go for it.
Literally. Sean, traded Kenneth Walker. I remember his name. Sorry,
nice job, Sean.
I was literally about to start clapping. Good for you. Good for you, John.
For Kelsey on a contender. Yes.
Yep.
And also, that's awesome.
I
feel a little bad making that trade.
Tight end flow chart. He's not Mark Andrews. He's not Kyle Pitts, but he is Travis Kelce. He matters. That's a win.
Zuli the Witch. Jamar? Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jamar greater than JT? Who?
Jahmyr Gibbs, the other running back.
Oh,
I don't think he's.
I don't know.
I don't think he's that. I don't think he. But again, it depends on draft. Like if he goes in the first round, if he goes to a team that. Imagine a world where he ends up in a Kamara-like role because that's what. Maybe.
But what happens if JT doesn't turn this season around? What if JT ends as the running back 10? He's much lower than that right now, but if JT ends as the running back 10, is he a top 5 dynasty running back next year?
He should be, but maybe
something someone mentioned to me recently is they've just made it possible for college players to earn money in certain circumstances, and they were wondering if maybe a few more stay in than we've been expecting up to this point for that chance, which I would not be against. College players should have been getting paid anyway. So maybe some stay. I'm not specifically this guy. I'm just throwing it out.
But it's name, image, and likeness, so they'll be able to make money, and carry that. It's advertising money, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so they wouldn't have to stay in college,
right?
Yeah, and regardless, these people aren't declaring unless they find independent people that are going to say you have around this draft grade,
right?
And
right.
Weigh that money against whatever they can get while still in college, and I mean that's pretty much usually what happens anyway. Some of these kids that would find out that only third rounds. No, I think I'm going to hang around to show them next year that I'm better. Yes, some of these people need money and will declare anyway because they and their family need money. But I don't think that's going to really affect things as much as people are acting like it's going to. They're not straight up getting paid to play.
Have you seen the movie Basketball? When when he's like, where Shaq, did Shaq make his money when he was in Orlando? And they're like,
he made it in college.
Everyone knows he made it in college. That's
that movie holds up sports wise to this day. If anyone out there has not seen Basketball, it is starring the two dudes who created South Park and was written by the people who wrote Airplane.
And if
you watch that movie,
if that doesn't sound good to you, watch the first 6 minutes of it anyway, because that will ring
the
true.
The opening scene talks about the degrading, morality of sports around money.
Yeah,
and it's to this day spot on.
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah,
because they already make fun of the Raiders moving too many times, and then they move again now.
The Jazz moved to Utah where they don't allow music.
That movie is so damn good. Let's go watch it, Zach.
Kevin Hobby asked, what's my favorite book on the bookshelf behind me? I have a lot of answers to that question. Normally depends on my mood. If I want to make you think I'm smart or fancy or whimsical or whatever. And I'm going to go for the...
Let's go whimsical Pete. Whimsical Pete. I want whimsical.
And it's just also just mood. Could answer anything because all the books are on that bookshelf. No, I'm going to say Furnace Mountain by Rebecca Patrick Howard. I'm live. My wife's books are on the bookshelf. What?
I was about to
Those
say,
are my
wait,
favorite
is that
books.
wife or mother?
Dude.
Which-
Don't try and catch me out like that. I'm gonna say it's Oscar Wilde when my wife's books are up there. Come on, no, it's fun. It's fan, and actually, it's my. Yeah, I'd say that's my favorite one because it's a historical retelling of a small town. It's like it's a modern retelling of a mountain folk tale. What is it? It's not a folk tale. I forget the word, but it's a story called Stone Soup, and it's got a metaphor and a moral, and I forget which type of story that is for the second. But it's really cool, and I like history. My actual favorite one is her Broommates one because it's hilarious, and I honestly just like reading fun.
what is it?
Broommates. It's an actual series. Yeah, it's yeah. Go read it on Amazon.
What's your favorite book, Zach?
On Peter's bookshelf? I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Squid.
All books are on there. You can say any books on there is the thing. That's the way I went.
What's your favorite book, Zach?
My favorite book, this is maybe a little bit of a cop-out. My favorite book is On Writing by Stephen King.
Yeah, you've told me that before, so
Brilliant.
I can't really argue that.
It's absolutely brilliant, and it is brilliant if you're and it's brilliant if you are a writer, but it's also brilliant if you're not, and you just want to have like.
Did you ever read George Orwell's similar idea how to write book? It was nowhere near as good, but it's George Orwell, so you're not allowed to say that. And it was pretty good.
Well, and
I like that.
Stephen King, it's weird to me, and now Cal's got us way off the rails, but because I got a degree in creative writing, and I'll talk books all day, but Stephen King, I think, is overrated as a pop author, but underrated as a writer.
Yeah,
because I don't think people think of him as being a great writer. They think of him as being the horror guy.
Yeah,
and man, can he turn a phrase? He is so good.
No, what I've always pointed out is it's too hip and cool to say he's a modern literary guy. He needs to be 20 years dead before anyone will recognize him as a writer. But something my wife pointed out, and it was a feature of Balzac. Actually, Oscar Wilde said it about Balzac. But anyway, ever stop to think about how much of popular culture is literally from Stephen King? Stop thinking of him as the horror guy. It's something my wife pointed out to me. It's like Talking Cars.
Yeah,
that's Stephen King's the first one who really put that into the popular consciousness. Most of our tropes and our ideas are often callbacks to common themes. Yeah. Remarkable how much of it comes from Stephen King, even down to the apocalyptic good versus evil battle that's present on The Walking Dead, The Stand.
Yeah.
And we think of this as just, that's been forever. No, it was created by Stephen King. Like a lot of our popular culture. My wife pointed it out to me one day. It's like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
As I often feel when my wife talks. And no, he basically created most of our popular culture right now. It's not,
but
he outweighs memes.
Like I'll sit there and I'll read his books regardless. And I don't like all of his stories. So I don't enjoy the Tommy Knockers, that was whatever, that was fine, but there's some books where he goes way off the rails, off the reservation into the supernatural, and I don't enjoy that, but I always enjoy his writing, even if I don't like his story, which sounds weird, but is
there's a short
don't judge me,
novella long story,
and
they made a movie about it, but they all suck when they make Stephen King movies. About a plane that gets lost in time, and there's also one about a car that never has an explanation. Yep. And reading what I like about Stephen King are those paragraphs where he talks to the reader and he talks about there's a personal relationship with him, and it's genius, and it's also the insights, and it's but anyway, for more information on this, check out my Zach and Russ's other podcast, I'm Writing by Stephen King. The podcast. And what were you going to say? Sorry, because my bad joke.
One of the movies that is called one of the best movies ever made is based on a Stephen King story.
Yeah, but he hated it. Oh, or no, you're talking about Shawshank.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
Shining.
And I was like,
he hated that. Shining. I remember that.
And because him and the director, who's a famous guy, which is where I got
Kubrick,
agreed on whether the ghosts were real or not. And King was like, they're real. And he was like, let's leave it vague. And he's like, no, they're real. I don't know what to tell you. They're real fucking ghosts. And that's awesome too. But anyway, Thanks, Cal. Derailed. Jason Gray. Dorian Gray? No, Jason Gray. 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR, rebuilding on a track to compete in 2023. You always should be trying to win next year, if not this year. Just got offered a 24 first, likely early. 23 second for my Christian Kirk. 24 first and a second for Kirk. I think that's solid. Yeah, I take that. And no, you don't keep him for his points if you rebuild him. Is that enough for you guys to move on from Kirk?
Sorry, I got super sidetracked on.
Yes.
I wasn't listening.
A first. Do you take a first for Christian Kirk?
24 first and a second and 23 for Christian Kirk.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I love Christian Kirk, but yeah. I still think he's going to be a big part of the offense next year, even when they will bring in another wide receiver, but a first and a second's a lot.
It's just a value thing for me. Especially, and it's nice that he told us he's rebuilding, so it can be pure rebuilding, purely a value question. But it always kind of is. That's the link to the book or something. Got offered Damien Harris. Gotta be. For my Amari Cooper, wanting to move off of Cooper, but is this something you guys would be looking at? Nope. I don't really care to move off of Cooper, so no. The Rona has Miles Sanders on the block. What are your thoughts on Cooper?
I would much rather have Sanders than Harris, but I still think I would rather have Cooper over both of them.
Yeah.
Cooper for Sanders, I wouldn't
Cooper's...
scoff at. If you felt the need to move off of Cooper and get a running back, I don't hate going to Sanders because he's going to get a lot of work, and he already scored more touchdowns this year than he did last year.
Yeah. So right now, Sanders is outscoring Cooper by 11 points in PPR with the touchdown. I don't think you're gaining that much by moving off of Cooper to get one of those.
I think you're losing value and your points. Honestly, I expect Amari Cooper to be another. He's DJ Moore from another draft class, guys. He's a top 24 wide receiver who's very good. And when people watch him, they go, ooh, routes. And I'm like, I don't know how he does it, but he does it. He's pretty good at it, apparently. And everyone hates him because he's been old for 3 years. Everyone's written him off as old for 3 years, and they're going to write him off for another 3. And he's just going to keep, well, maybe not 3, but he's going to keep being Cooper for 2 years. He's actually someone I'd target if I'm looking for wide receiver points because I'm trying to win. And I think in Dynasty, if you're not winning, there's no point holding him. The other name I was going to point up on that list, but he's not scoring points, is DJ Moore is going to enter that age range this offseason, and he's not going to score points this offseason. So I think it's an interesting target for tanking teams. This was based on my talk with Mad Jester for the Crossroads next week. And he said, DJ Moore, if you're not trying to win, but you want to invest in wide receiver or you can't get picks going, DJ Moore is going to be in this age range, still good, still probably definitely outproduces value. And it's a way to get rid of your potential for scoring points, so increase your draft pick, and also get a wide receiver. And I thought it was an interesting thought, not one I would normally have. So I think DJ Moore for a tanking team is an interesting target, as opposed to Amari Cooper, who's going to keep scoring points. Gavin Ferguson, how much football do you guys watch on any given Sunday? A lot. I don't have all the packages, to be fair. I watch what I can. I do work half of most days, so I catch some of a few games before I head to work, and that's about it.
I watch Sunday Ticket whenever I can. I miss most of the night games because of kids, and if I can get them in bed and my wife is not attention seeking, like she's cool just sitting in bed on our phones, I'll put on the game. But I'm also thinking about trying to get that NFL Plus thing so I can start watching the condensed games.
And that's what I was going to say is I watch more during the week than I do on Sunday because the condensed games are easier to go through. And honestly, I don't have I'll watch Red Zone until my youngest son says, "Hey Dad, will you go outside and have a catch with me?" And I'm like, "Yep, okay."
Gone.
And and so but having the NFL Plus, having the condensed games is nice. You can go back and look at that. I do that, and I also don't tell Peter, but I also look at the numbers. So I'll watch the games and box score scout because it's hard to tell.
People make fun of that and also checking your score during the games, but I find that so much less stressful than trying to flick through all the channels or get to red zone. Like, something's going on in this game, and trying to watching the game 4 games at a time is so much more of a brain mess than checking my scores.
And there are things that you can get from box scores that, like, unless I'm charting the game, I don't know who has what target. Like, and I don't want to sit there and chart. I'll do that when I'm doing rookie work. So when I'm doing rookie work, I watch, 12 games of a guy's college career, but I'll watch their cut-ups, or I'll sit there and watch. There's a guy who does offensive line work where he does cuts of all of the offensive plays, do a barrel roll on YouTube, and I'll do that, and you can get like a condensed version. But as far as like in season, I
was going to say, Zach's the only one who really works from film, and the other. So my honest answer to this is as much as I can, because I like to watch sport, but there's no. I don't have thresholds or limits or set amounts because I'm not working from film. It's just I enjoy watching sports, so I watch what I can of it.
And honestly, Gavin, if you follow me on Twitter on Sunday, if I'm watching the games, I'm usually just like cracking off jokes. Like that's literally what I do. Is I sit on Twitter and like crack jokes about what's going on.
No, I was not watching the games. I was at work and I was watching some things, and I was like in our Dynasty grind chat, like, Zach, are you watching this one? Because I got questions, and no replies. Just echo chamber because Zach's got other things to do. Maybe his kid wanted to play catch. I actually do want to ask you that. Sorry, Gavin, you reminded me. I was going to ask about Juju because I feel as watching the stats roll in and looking at his overall profile, like it could be a situation where I'm missing something by not watching or not being able to evaluate through film. Like, is he doing badly? I know that's a good question and too much to put on you, but that was the question I was going to ask you when I asked that.
I will have to go back and
like
really
if you get
dig
any
into
thoughts
Juju
on it,
for
I
you.
would like to know. Because his stats.
Bye time.
Oh,
I gotta go to bed. One more Thursday of early, and then I don't have to go to the city anymore, so I do not need to leave at 11:30. So
we will keep the lights on.
Till next time.
Good night, Russ.
Sad again. Ira Hines. I'm trying to figure out how to trade Mike Williams in my Dynasty League. Look at teams that need points. Look at that's how I would go about it. Is I go look at my rosters. I go check out who's winning. Assuming some competence in my league mates so they know. But at least the teams that are in the top 5, top 6 are probably feeling it. They know they're doing pretty well. And if they look at Mike Williams, they'll see a chance to improve part of their depth chart. So I want to go look at their depth chart and see who in that situation might be like, I could use Mike Williams. And then I'd see what they have on their team that might not be scoring points or might be of more value to me as someone who is presumably not willing if you're trying to get rid of Mike Williams. And I try and trade for that. That's the league specific nature of it. It's going to be who in your league is in the right situation to value him as a second round pick plus maybe. And then who's willing to actually do that is different from league to league. You can be in that exact situation where Mike Williams would be your wide receiver 2 right now and you're winning and you should really value, and they'll be like, nah, I'm keeping my pick, or DJ Moore or whatever it is. But that's how I go about it. I go look for the teams in the situation that might value it, and then I'll see what they've got and try and make a decent offer.
Yeah.
Okay. Mag. Unless if you got more. 10-team Superflex Kyler plus 23 first plus. What?
I agree.
Am I missing something here?
I
like
there
both
must
of
be
those things.
there must be another somewhere. Maybe
I'm
not.
looking for you, Mag, but I don't see it. Well, hopefully we'll get back to it. Steve, 12th team, 1-point PPR, Superflex, pick a side, Breece Hall and DJ Moore, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. This is weird. DJ Moore's on the weird side. It's Olave and Garrick, so I want wide receivers just in general. But if I'm like Brees Hall's a winning piece, so there's a potential that someone overpays to get Brees Hall. And again, if I'm winning and I want to get a young running back, you're probably going to have to overpay. But it's just Olave and Wilson. I'm overthinking this too much.
Yeah, I think I'd take the Olave Wilson side.
Awesome. Andrew Carlson, thoughts on Chubb's value to a top 5 team right now? Priceless.
Yeah.
But she's not going to give you just anything. It's Chubb. I mean, his value is going to dip this offseason. He's an old running back who rushes the ball, and he's got Kareem Hunt on his depth chart. So he's a first plus. Like, what would you trade him for in a PPR though? He's like a first and a piece at this point. If I can get a first for Chubb, and I'm assuming I'm not winning, then I've done pretty well right now in this dynasty landscape. But if there's any way I can win and I've got Chubb, I kind of want to push in my chips in because I'm always trying to win. But a first, generic first, is kind of the value on Chubb. And honestly, kind of lucky to get. But again, leagues are different. So maybe not.
Well, but you've got a unique situation right now where he's running back 2. Like and
that's so good.
We'll forget to drop the lead of this is the lowest scoring running back year in since like after 4 weeks for like what I can't even remember who it was, but it was like 10 years or 15 years ago that it's like. So we're down, but Chubb is still at 2. So you've got a unique opportunity to potentially trade him and get something a little more than a first. But
maybe I'll try it, and I'll be okay coming down a little bit.
Yep. We did this, but I traded him for a first before the season for a 23 first, and I was like, "Yep, good." And now I'm kicking myself because that team is competitive, and if I had Chubb, I'd be the bull of the wood. But it wasn't supposed to be competitive. I was supposed to be tanking.
There's a lot of that going on this year, and I've seen that. Like Casey Keenan's been trying to tank in our Trade Addicts League. She's been trading away all of her points players and getting value, and she keeps scoring points. She's like top 5 in the league right now. So sometimes you can't win for winning. I don't know. Robert, if your league has a losers bracket for first, does that change your approach from just selling all assets? Like, again, I don't normally approach it as selling all assets. Only I definitely can't win. I'm normally trying to acquire victories, not lose them. But, I mean, you adjust your league situation. And if there's a chance you can improve your pick by doing better, I would try to do better. But in general, the thing about Dynasty is there's no other draft. That's literally the difference. And as long as value or ADP, just as a synonym, correlates to points, this is the explanation. This is Adam Harstead, by the way. I'm parroting things he explained better than I could, but it fits with the way I play and what I think about playing. As long as ADP, as a synonym for value, correlates to points, which it does, the more value you acquire, the more likely you are going to win eventually. And ADP correlates to points well enough that it should actually be a fairly quick turnaround. So I'm not mega braining it to try and beat my rookie picks. I want to add as much value to my team. It tends to be the golden rule. I'm a Yahoo, so I will kind of go all in. I just want Chubb. I just want points. But broad scale, that's the way I'm always trying to approach, even if I listen to the demons shouting down at my better angels.
It's an interesting, having the losers bracket for the first round pick. So in effect, the middle of the road team. So if you're in a 12-team league and 6 teams make the playoffs, team 7 in theory would have the first round pick, and then your teams that lose out are not rebuilt. That's an interesting.
I have played in leagues where they deliberately built rules so you can't tank to the bottom and you have to try and stay competitive. And I'm not against them. It was a lot of fun because you still had something to set your weekly roster for. And so you play to your league.
We have a pizza bracket that does that. It's the same thing, but if you lose, you buy the pizza.
Nice. I like pizza. Zulu the Witch, 2 keys above all others to prospects evaluations. Players that make the game look easy. Sounds like a good one. And players who emulate unflinching self-resolve. Sorry, that sounded like it needed some gravitas. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't know. It sounds good. Harder than it seems to differentiate from other physical, psychological profiles. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Nicholas J, in a rebuilding in my Superflex Dynasty, I assume the same rebuild. Maybe it's a different rebuild. 1 and 3. Should I trade Russell Wilson? Yes. And if so, what should I get in return? I mean, there's no immediate need because last week was more positive, and I think I'm hopeful he'll continue to have at least decent weeks. So you've got a little window here where you can shop for better offers if you can't get what you want. But in a Superflex, it's a quarterback. And it's a quarterback who does have upside despite the way the start of the season, like he might still be something like what we expected him to be.
Right.
I think for 2 firsts, generic 2 first value. But it's a league, it's a trade, the best trade I can get, and I'll be interested in trading him. Could you get Tua right now for a team that wants to compete? If that's one of those teams, Lance is another target, and you get another first with them. Hopefully, if that team wants to compete, it's possible. Zach?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So, and the Nicholas's second part of that is he's got an offer of a 23 first and a 24 first for Wilson and Kamara. I would try to ship Kamara for one of those first, and then try to get more from somebody else for Wilson.
That's a better plan. Do that. Should we worry about? No. This year, sure. Worry about Wilson. Worry about more. Corey Davis is going to play spoiler more often than we are probably comfortable with. Dynasty-wise, no, they're young, good wide receivers. I honestly think Wilson's done enough to prove that, and more did enough last year. So, like, if anyone did, it's a Bateman thing. Yeah. If anyone forgets they're good players already and young and Dynasty and wide receivers, then I want to pounce like a tiger. Let's face it, like a alley kitten. It's dangerous and also unwanted. That sounds right. 12-team 1 QB PPR start 8. I hear you guys are willing to pay up for quarterback for the quarterbacks. Yeah. Give Fournette, Metcalf, and a late 23 first for Hurts. Ooh, and a 1 quarterback. You're adding a first to that, really.
I don't think I do that in I don't think I do that in a 1 quarterback. Like, when I'm paying up in the startup. Because I think that's where they're undervalued.
The idea is we pay up in a 1 quarterback because you don't have to give a Metcalf or a first to get it. And here you give them both. For that, sure, have my potential top 12 points for a quarterback in 1 QB. But not all that, no. Not even close. Eric, regarding the Damien Harris for a 23 second and a 23 third trade. Should I have mentioned that 8 teams in the league have roster depth of 37? Likely no waivers worth anything. I understand your point. The waivers are dead. Damien Harris, therefore, probably has more value, but he doesn't have any more value as a starter in an 8-team league.
Right.
So, I mean, I understand where it's coming from.
You're still only you're starting 12 in 8-team league. Like,
he still doesn't have the VORP. It's not the VORP you're looking for, but I get why his value is a little up there. It makes sense. Right. FF Lefty, what's up, people?
Hey,
what's up, FF Lefty? Nice to see you made it tonight. Zulu the Witch, pleasure rocking with you boys. Good night. Good night, Zulu. Thanks very much. It's nice to meet you. Jason, 12-team Superflex Bateman or Ken Walker Bateman? Well, you get your Rashad White. I can't get yes, Bateman for me in Dynasty. Bateman on my bench. Not sure how I feel about those running backs. If you're looking to trade Bateman for win now points in running back, Rashad White's an interesting target, but neither of these guys are scoring you points right now. No. So I would target one of those guys that we've mentioned, like James Robinson or Antonio Gibson, and I want a plus. And Rashad White isn't a bad plus if that team has any of those. But Bateman straight up for those 2 backup running backs, not for me. In Dynasty, no. FF Lefty. Yeah. But
sorry, I don't mean to get it ahead of you.
No, you're good. Like we're running to the end as quick as we can here because we got to get sleepy bobos. That's a word. Swift or Amon-Ra? In Dynasty, Amon-Ra. He's
Yep.
already been drafted higher.
But I think you can get more for Swift than Amon-Ra St. Brown still. But I
not necessarily
prefer to have.
trade.
Yeah, I would prefer to have Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Peter, can you summarize your recent findings? I have recent findings on the idea wide receivers are scoring more points this season.
Wide receiver, good. Running back,
Wide receivers have been scoring. Oh, I remember what she's talking about. She was talking about my comparison that Cooper Kupp, Jefferson getting the Kupp role, and there seemed to be a higher ceiling to wide receivers. Yeah, it's kind of died down a little bit. It seems actually it was just a spike. Wide receivers regressing back rather nicely. Still higher than running back right now, based on the last 4-year trend of running back scoring less. Haven't found any more to it, unfortunately, but it was fun speculation. Lofty also made this trade last week. Give Najee Harris got Nico. Najee Harris and Nico for Adams and Keenan. I don't understand it. Najee's a running back, so points. Nico.
Yeah, but you got
personally
Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen, assuming Keenan comes back.
Older wide receivers. Adams all about points at this point. I don't understand it. But it's not necessarily bad. He has Diggs, Hill, Adams, Deontay, Keenan for starting wide receivers. It's pretty strong. Well, when Keenan comes back, pretty strong wide receiver core, but you're in heavy win now mood. To be fair, Najee Harris doesn't look like he's going to do it this year, although that just continues to confuse me. He's young, he's getting all this volume. And
it's a bad
it's not efficiency.
Really bad offense.
It's just a really it's a really bad.
I mean, they lost to the Patriots, which is tough to do
these days.
Yeah.
Andrew, 12-team Superflex PPR, J-Rob, and a mid-23 second for Javonte Williams. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're not competing this year.
That's a competing. That's a
competing
you get team trading with a non-competing, and that makes
get
sense.
your Javonte Williams and make your first better.
Yeah. Wyatt, 12-team Superflex, Hockenson, Ritter. I remember. DK, the ones that throw, right?
Yeah.
DK is so far the most interesting piece. A 24 third for Waddle, McBride, Daniel Jones, and a 23 second. Yeah, I just want Waddle in that trade. I know DK Waddle is probably
Waddle over DK,
but
Daniel Jones, but over Ritter. The second and Hockenson are pretty close, and it's the Waddle side. Yep.
I think it's pickier, and honestly, I'd be fine if you prefer DK to Waddle. I get it in Dynasty, but I lean Waddle right now. So
Waddle's so
good.
Take
the Waddle side. He's good, man. I mean, so's DK. And T-Shady, start, sit, Pitts or Tanyan. Good question.
Pitts.
Yeah, Pitts, sure.
So,
okay.
That's
that's honestly hard, though. Yeah. I'd have to look at my projections.
Go look at your projections and see what you've got. But
it's gonna be Pitts.
The reason for me going Pitts is because I think that the next two, and this goes for the next 2 weeks, but the next 2 weeks they're going to be without their starting running back in Patterson. They are going to be playing the Bucks and the 49ers, who are both have very good run defenses, which lead me to believe that the Falcons will be throwing, which means that they're going to be throwing to Pitts because he's one of their top two options. It should be their best option, but so it's Pitts. Tanyan, you're hoping for a touchdown.
Yeah, it's Pitts by a mile by projections too.
Yeah.
So. Just going to do that. Gavin, smash that like button and subscribe. I appreciate that, Gavin. Thanks.
You missed this two are done for the year. Yeah, it's so hard to tell with head injuries. I don't know.
I don't think so, but I would hate to be dependent on him right now.
Well, and
such a rough start to his career. But I will remember that Matthew Stafford was tagged as injury prone through the first few years of his career. Hopefully he's okay. That's the main concern, obviously. Kevin Hobby, Bateman or Devontae Smith? Same diff, man. Same tier, same age, same year.
I'd rather have Smith, but not by much. But that was also the way I had them when they were rookies. Smith, but not by much. So,
Kevin Hobby, preach, Peter. Hollywood doesn't get enough respect. 12 team Superflex Dynasty. What are your thoughts? What are you sending to get Brian Robinson? I'm not trading for Brian Robinson.
No, a second. I'd throw a second at him, whatever. But that's what you paid for him this year. Yeah.
Do different things with it. Lincoln was here. Hi, guys. Made a few moves. Commit for Bateman and Huntley for Alec Pierce. That's all right. So my question is, does my team need to make any moves? I mean, always. It's super flex, 12-team Dynasty, 1.5 tight end premium. This is his roster. Do you see anything that stands out? It looks to me like you're a team trying to win right now.
Yeah, you got some old running backs.
Yeah. Elliott's not going to do it. I don't think you're going to start him. I think Elliott, Brian Robinson. I'm trying to get anything that scores points for Elliott right now. Can I get Jamal Williams? Can I get Khalil Herbert? I strongly think
that feels like it. Who's tight end is Kelsey and Anderson. So that's what is carrying you, Lincoln, is Kelsey and Andrews in 1.5 point tight end premium. That's what
Kelsey and Andrews is carrying.
Yeah.
I mean, need is a strong word, but I'm trying to improve. Where am I trying to improve? Your wide receivers, right? Can I try? Yeah. Thing is, you've got old running backs. No one's going to trade for Brian Robinson and Elliott for a wide receiver if they're not scoring points.
Right.
Amari Cooper, good trade target for a team that wants points, but it comes at a value. I don't see what they might want, but I would approach them and try and work something out.
Well, and that's Amari Cooper for a second, like we were talking earlier. Like that would be a win for this team because you add a top 24 wide receiver without giving up too much. And that's, I mean, I'd be trying to do that, or I'd be trying to pair something with Elliott to move up, and hope people are still buying in on the name value. So Mixon, Peter, you mentioned Mixon earlier. Mm-hmm. Pair something with Elliott to get to Mixon, and in theory, you have a.
This isn't a bad situation to trade Bateman, because assumingly if someone's giving you points, they don't want them, and Bateman's that kind of proposition. So Bateman plus Elliott, or rough trade, but you might find, move them for someone that's going to score you lots of points this year. Bateman should be worth more than Cooper, but just throwing that idea out there. DK, same thing. Your wide receivers have value, and no, actually DK's solid right now. Actually,
hang on.
DK's a good start. You don't need to trade him for points, but Bateman might carry more value than points, which is fine. Make sure you get fair value back. And that's what you're trying to improve right now, because all the quarterbacks who could do it are just astronomically too far away from what you want to trade and keep scoring points. So I try to improve at wide receiver.
And this is a team that after this season, like I'm competing hard this season, but after this season, I'm trying to get whatever I can for Kamara, McCaffrey, Kelsey. Like that's what I'm doing in rebuilding.
Frank N, no question tonight, just appreciation for the 3 best damn fantasy analysts. I appreciate that, Frank. Thanks very much.
Does he get the right feed?
KJ Hamler or the third.
Yeah.
Don't tase me, bro. 19. Welcome back. 10-team half-point PPR. Devontae Adams, Miles Sanders, Michael Gallup for Jalen Waddle on 24 seconds. Yes, Jalen Waddle side, please.
Yep.
P to the R. I've been to Arrowhead 3 times. That's cool. Not a Chiefs fan, but if you go, I highly recommend going inside the stadium. Very cool setup.
Yeah, but the barbecue's outside.
Miami is boring. Buffalo's the best. That's the thing. Like, it's not on my wish list, but I would, if I had the chance, I'd definitely go check them out. Like, they're cool places. People hang out and have fun, and it sounds like a riot. The point, I blocked them. Don't worry about it. Joe, name one player that's making look bad that one's making you good so far.
Drake London is making me look bad.
Oh, I go in.
Although I did hedge, I did say that he would be the most likely to make me look bad if anybody did, because I had him at wide receiver. What was he?
Yeah,
4, 5, like as
Drake
opposed to
London's a good one.
and one that's making me look good. The easy answer is Justin Jefferson, because he's been doing that for as long as he's been in the league. But let's say Courtland Sutton, who is as poorly as Russell Wilson has played so far this season, still a top 12 wide receiver, unless Peter goes and pulls up
No,
points
he is.
per
He
game.
is.
Unless you pull up points per game and then he drops to 13.
Because of Michael Thomas, that young guy.
Yeah.
Just one. Juju Smith-Schuster, I feel strongly owned again. Making me look good. No one makes me look good, man. I guess
Hollywood Brown's making you look good.
actually I've got a few wins and I'm trying to not
You just
list 9.
Just get the mental spreadsheet.
I did well. Like, the process is working. It keeps improving. So it's not that it's always working out for my teams, but the process works. So far, better every year. I tell you what, I'm going to mention Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I said he could be a top 12 running back this season. And if you drafted him where he was going or paid that value, like, I don't care about your regression. You've got 4 weeks of top 12 running back for way less than it should have, than any of the others actually called. I mean, Joe was all in on Antonio Gibson, and I think he fell maybe to where Clyde Edwards-Helaire was, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire was there at the start of the season. I don't get a lot of running backs. I don't do a lot of it, so it felt like I was pretty much out of my element on that one. So far, it's working. Everyone tells me I'm going to be wrong eventually, but so far, I'm pretty happy with it. And
no,
Nicholas
that was
J,
Russ. That was Russ, but he left.
Yeah, he's just a sexy bot. And tell you, Gavin, are you guys rushing to trade for Geronte? No, I mean, Geronte Williams is a value proposition and he's a running back, so I got no interest in it. It's just outside of how I try and play. His running back room. Oh, sorry. Here's a broader question. If you're on a contender, why would you trade for Geronte Williams?
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Especially, he said that both are undefeated. He's first in scoring. Oh, the other guy's first in scoring. Gavin is second. He wants AJ Dillon for Javonte. No, relax. Like, you want points right now. You are in season with a contender that's second overall in points, and the guy who is first just lost one of his top running backs. You don't want to give him ammunition. You want to go get running backs or something to bolster your team now. Make a move where you can, you carry the hammer.
I mean, you just took the lead if he lost his running back. I mean, you can give it back to him if you want and start tanking. Yeah. But, I think that's solid. Your choice. Sean, 12-team Superflex, Judy and Zach Wilson or a late 23 first. I mean, in Superflex, you got to pair Judy to get a first and a second. I guess the market caught off on Zach Wilson. I know I feel like small enough. It feels too much.
I feel like that should be 2 firsts. I feel like Judy should be like a first minus, and Zach Wilson should be like a first bus. But they're like, I don't think I do that for a first and a second. But
the only thing I can add is you can look at that roster and see if you think it's early or late, and if it's you think it's strongly
top
think it's really
first,
early 23 first, then yes. But if not, then no. Randy,
it's the old Russ. You need to get a quarterback back if you're trading a quarterback. If that's a top 5 pick, that's potentially a quarterback. So we're all right with that.
Randy, 14-team PPR Superflex, start 8. Should I trade Pitts since I have... No, you don't have to worry about rostering 2 players from the same team if they're both good or both have value. I don't panic about it too much. That's it.
Yep.
Watch. That's as far as I'm going. Thoughts on trading for ETN? It's just more expensive version of other things. I'm looking to package Michael Carter and a 23 pick, maybe a second, but I'd probably rather have Carter in the second. I don't think ETN is who you think he could be. I know he's not that now. It's James Robinson. So no, I guess gonna flat out know it. Sorry. No, I'm not. You know what? Not sorry. Kind of sorry. Alec, thoughts on Lockett and Ertz? Good. Discount versions of expensive top 24 wide receivers and top 5 tight ends. Yeah, they're good. And decent value. Always have been. How much would you sell them for? Ooh. See, I don't think I get back what I would expect for them.
Either of them.
Thing.
Yeah.
I've tried packaging Lockett up to get a first with some other stuff. I've tried to do it through a pick bump like John Bosch suggests, and just no one will still respect Lockett. So I'm happy rostering him, and hopefully he'll still be scoring points when my team does.
They're easier buys because
yes.
they're not valued. They're old or what, like they're whatever it is. They're not sexy. They're not the new hotness, and so like. They're easier to buy. So if you're a competing team, yeah, I want them.
Find competing teams, see if they're willing to. What would I want back? I'm trying to get a first for both together. That's the way I'm kind of doing it. Combining them and trying to hope that point value rolls into something that has more tradability to more teams. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going through my trade targets. We've talked about them all show. We've talked about them a lot. In different situations, we mentioned different players, but I mean, we've got pretty common players that we come back to that we think were over or undervalued or just rock solid to trade for. You know, you don't get into the Waddle tier with either of this, but you could maybe get into the DJ Moore's the same thing as Lockett. You can do that. I don't have any players to think of. I think I'm just trying to get a first from a contender. Alec, is Melvin Gordon price going up now? Strangely, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He's probably worth a second.
I mean,
but according to some trades, Antonio Gibson is, which means that Melvin Gordon's price has come up to Antonio Gibson. So it depends on your league.
That's
it is a good time to try and trade him if you don't need the points.
Yep.
So that's what the question is. Got offered a late first for Rachaad White, and my second. So yes, that's the kind of offer I would send if I'm a non-compete. I'm trying to bump my second to a first. Yeah, that makes sense. Rachaad White's a good player to have. But,
I mean, even if the first is not early, like take it anyway because you just got a first for Rachaad White.
Yeah. Should I trade Waddle for Higgins? I would. Russ isn't here, so there's no one to tell me not to.
So you'd rather have Higgins? You'd rather have Higgins than Waddle?
Oh no, sorry. I want Waddle.
Okay.
Do you want?
I think I do too.
I get it,
but it's like what pick your poison there. Like this is not one that I'm like. This is not a trade that I'm making. It's because I'm not confident in figuring out which, because I think they're both fantastic. I don't know which one is more fantastic. And so no, that's perfect. I would say if I'm going out to trade for either without the other being involved, like I trade for Waddle much more heavily than I trade for Higgins. But I think, it's pick your poison thing. Don't do same position trades in the same tier. Right. I mean, like we have Waddle over Higgins, but this is not a trade that like I would rather add pieces or trade. Yeah. So
need to do a different trade. If it's a trade, you didn't even say. I have Waddle ranked higher. That's what I'm saying. Yep. Acres of Hunt. Gavin Hobby, can you put the link in the book in the chat, Peter? I mean, yeah. Didn't ask me to. He just asked if I could. Jahan Webb, completely off. Probably. We got to go pretty soon, guys, by the way. If you need to go, Zach, by the way, you can dip. I'm going to try and finish up.
We're not that far from... We're within half an hour of the bottom now, so...
All right. I'm trying to go fast. Just saw 23 first late and 23 second late for Chase.
Oh, man.
Really?
Turn around and offer 2 firsts for him to that same owner, the guy who just got chased for a first and a second. Offer him 2 firsts. Yeah, see.
That's wow. Alec, thoughts on J.K. Dobbins I mean, we talked about J.K. Dobbins so much. I think he's a top 4 running back who's extremely good at the position. Russ thinks he's got more value than I'm giving him credit for because he's young and there's very few running backs who fit both descriptions firmly for most people right now. Pick your poison, divide it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So shopping him or acquiring him, if I've got him, I'm shopping him to see what I can get. If I get a 23 first, I am sending him for a 23 first. If I am looking to acquire him, I'm trying to do like 2 seconds or like a lesser player in a second to try to get him. Because
I would definitely trade him
for
a first.
Yeah.
He's saying he's trying to trade him to a team that just like Javonte for a first. And I think I would be perfectly happy doing that. Like, that's the value I would try and get back for him.
Yeah. Yep.
Last one from me tonight. Wish it was for me. Not really. Thoughts on tanking in a league that award rookie picks based on optimal lineups for teams that don't make the playoffs. What kind of roster to have if tanking? I think this is another if you don't automatically get the 101 because you finish last. I mean, it's
trade for hurt players.
Like, I would put more effort into trading than I would into tanking anyway. I don't actively tank. I'm trying to trade away points for value still because those broader themes still work. I wouldn't undo trades or not do certain trades based on value because I want some points. I think that's you can kind of meta brain yourself into a place you don't want to be.
But like Javonte's a great target in that type of situation. Trey Lance is a great target in that type of situation. You go find the players who are injured who are going to come back and have value. Like
Bateman.
Yep.
Real misfit toys: Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. You trade for players that you think are good and have value, but can score points because there are a few. Real misfit toys: 12-team Superflex PPR start 9. Devontae Adams, Chase Edmonds for probably early 23 first. Then yes, if you really think it's an early first, and I think that's probably fine even for Adams. But that's just Adams, by the way. Chase Edmonds isn't weighing on my mind much here.
Yeah. I think it's I think it's the first side because Adams is at that, like, he's crossed that. So you got the value line and the points line, and his points line has gone here and his value line has gone here. So you're not going to get the value for the points that he's scoring. So yeah,
and you're getting a bunch of other stuff you can try and cascade trade, so it makes sense.
Yep.
I have a pretty stacked young team, but now 3-5 with the league median. Do I need to hold or should I start shopping year 3? It's really hard to know from a distance. You can have a better idea. Sounds like yes. This is a year where you I want to build earlier rather than later. I know I'm always try and win, but this is a really rough year to get caught out on. If you don't win. Don't you think?
Yeah, so this is, again, I'm not necessarily looking at, so should I start shopping 3-year wide receivers and keep the 1- and 2-year guys? Like, that's not how I'm approaching it. I'm approaching it with the players that I think are going to continue to ascend in value, I'm going to hang on to. And the players that I don't believe in, I'm going to try to trade. Like, it again, to me, it's a value proposition, and it's betting on that. It's not necessarily betting on the young guys over the old guys, because
I mean, it's positional. Like, ETN's a 2nd-year running back, and I got no interest in keeping him if I'm tanking. So I mean, but yeah, I think the idea that you're making a decision to start shopping for the bottom almost. Again, I don't think about it in terms of tanking. I know that's a popular term, but I'm trying to add value that I think fulfills the non-point scoring, or I'm trying to focus more on value than points when all trades should balance out with both. But I mean, you can reverse it. What are they going to be drafted in July? That's the question. Hey, just got through sending trades. Bob Gilchrist, some new guy, I don't know. Sent Hockenson and a first, received Andrews.
Yep.
I mean, awesome. So, because Andrews is now going to make that a late first, so that's awesome. Sent Hockenson a second, received Pitts.
The second's on the wrong side of that, right, Bob? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's a good one. I'd take that.
That's very good. I mean, that's better value than we've seen other trades for Pitts.
Yep.
Send a mid-second, receive Melvin Gordon. Yeah. Second for Gordon, fine. Trade away CEH. Wrong. You did this wrong. You did this bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I think CEH gives you more points than a second and a third. Unless you're a non-contending team. And then I'd still rather package CEH to try to get a first.
Yeah, I think 2 more weeks of this, I think you get more. And even if you can't, then you'll just sit there with top 12 running back points. It'd be fine. Bosch sent me a trade. Always think he saw something. Love hate receiving trades from him. He wants Najee. Interesting. So I mentioned him to him and he's like, I don't want Najee. And some bankroll money for CMC. Ooh. Yeah, I want CMC if I'm trying to win. Najee isn't that this year. So where did they trade him for a running back? You're right. That's always look with suspicion at a John Bosch trade, but I think that's I'll probably say yes to it if I'm trying to compete.
Bosch is going to turn around and use that bankroll money to pay 3 guys to kidnap CMC. That's what's going on here.
I was going to say, like, I've tried to outthink John Bosch when he sends trade offers. I've just quit. If he's going to beat me up, he's going to beat me up. Like,
I'd take McCaffrey on that one, Bob. Yeah, I would. But
Andrew Carlson, we do a lottery system for our rookie draft, even with the Champion League. A 1 in 155 chance of getting the first. But wow, that's slim.
But yeah, so I get all that, and I understand why people do that, but I also think that it screws up the NBA when they do their lottery. Like the worst team should have the best pick because that's the way you.
I mean, it's like people getting bent out of shape because you're reading the rules and finding little tiny crevices, but it doesn't overly affect the league.
Well,
it's not like you tank and get the 101 and therefore you're the champion and everyone's like, oh gosh darn it. Like
the cool thing
tilting over people struggling doing a little bit better by actively accepting this. Like that seems
and
weird.
It's you literally had a league fee donated for a year. Like if a team's actively tanking, like here's my league fee. I'm just going to hang out here at the bottom of your standings.
It's people not liking nerds talking about, I did this to get a event. But at the end of the day, they're admitting they lost. So they tried to do the best they could in a bad situation. But I mean, if that's fun for you, playing it. I don't know.
Yeah. And I get doing the lottery. That's probably fun. Have at it. But it's not.
10-team Superflex PPR. Dynasty rebuilding, traded Eckler and Wentz for ETN and Pickett.
I don't love that. Even I get what you're doing. I get you're trying to get younger, but you also have to get better.
You get younger running back as well. It's not my kind of trade, but I do say what you're trying to do. What you're doing, rather. He's building. He's got AJ Brown, Higgins, building. Roster, Russ, Tanny, J. This looks like an older team with point scorers. Building, you need to do more trading, my boy.
We're saying building around AJ Brown and Higgins.
This is my roster. That's right. Because Tannehill doesn't have a job next year. We don't know what his job's going to be. At least Russ. Right. Yeah, like you say, you got a window here where he's going to start putting up points for at least hopefully a little while.
But this is a team. This is a team where I'm trying to pair, Russell Wilson and somebody and get a quarterback, a quarterback with a capital Q.
I would also take the Burks and put it on the hold side of this, and everything else is freely trade. You can get.
Robinson and ETN and Ramondre Stevenson, I think all have more value to somebody else than they do to you. If people want, if your league, it looks like maybe that your league is one where people are trying to roster the handcuffs, then maybe that adds value. Or if it's just something you're doing, then split them up and get value. So because you got Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, you now got ETN and James Robinson. Like let's split those up and get some pieces that we can make some hay with, I think. But
France, should I trade Khalil Herbert, Deontay, and a 25 first for Hall?
No.
I think that's a little too much. Deontay's undervalued right now.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson's good.
This is a team from the early one. He's got Goff, Tua, Goff making it difficult to tank. Dylan Swift, Pittman, Waddle. Gabe Davis is someone you should try and trade away from. He's not going to bring you what he would 2 weeks ago, but yeah. Schultz trade away, Njoku trade away, McKenzie's not going to get you anything. Wilson, I'm trying to trade Penny and Wilsons of the world for a second. It's a bad dynasty year. Like, no one wants the momentarily productive running backs for a second.
You can't get a second for Penny after he just like ran roughshod this past week.
Or Wilson, or putting them together, or putting them with Tyler Lockett. I'm trying to get a second. Yeah, it's bad dynasty year. Would it be good to buy Dalvin Cook right now? I don't think he's hurt. I did check him recently as well.
He had a shoulder injury, but I don't think he's like hurt.
I missed that. If you want the points, it's probably worth a gamble because he's one of the few running backs who can really make that difference this year. But it's for what?
But I also don't think they're doing their offense is different this year, Peter. So Dalvin Cook is not necessarily the feature of this offense that he has been for the last 3 or 4. And so he's been okay, but he and Najee Harris are, have scored the same points so far this year. He's behind. He's trailing Rashad Penny. He's trailing Devin Singletary. It might be a good time to buy Dalvin Cook, but it's not a good time to pay Dalvin Cook prices. So if you can get Dalvin Cook for less than, if you can throw 2 seconds at Dalvin Cook or throw, a player in a second, then yes. But I'm not actively. I'm not going to trade a first for Dalvin Cook.
He's none of the trade targets we came out with when we were thinking about sending a second to get a running back.
So his points aren't where you think of Dalvin Cook, and he's at an age where his value is coming down. So Dalvin Cook is not a trade target for me unless I'm getting the value of I know that he's not going to return value for you when you go try to trade him.
Rate my team, please. I'll try
7.
to beat David.
Oh.
We don't really have a scale, but Hurts, Joe Mixon, Fournette, Keenan Allen, AJ Brown, Pitts, Godwin, bench Miles Sanders, Deontay Johnson, Michael Thomas, Dak Prescott. You're a team that needs to win this year based on your roster.
Yeah.
I think you're playoff bound. I'm not sure it needs work to win.
You need Keenan Allen to get healthy, Chris Godwin to get healthy,
and come back healthy. I mean, you got AJ Brown. I overstepped that one, and Godwin's going to come. Man, you got to win this year based on this roster, and right now you got a lot of questions. So I'd say I'd rate it playoff bound, but you got to do a lot of work to make it final bound. Or like Zach says, Keenan Allen, Godwin both come back healthy. Luck or a lot of work, wait and see, or try to make something happen right now. You're on the cusp here. Look at the other rosters. Are they really strong? I might think about selling. I think you're a playoff team easily.
But you you've got enough there.
Dak Prescott.
You've got enough there where you could pair and tier up, in a couple of places. So
we don't really have a scale. I'm going to say you're playoff bound that needs to do some work to make yourself final bound. And I would do that. I'd try and tier up for more points with a few of those players. You got Dak, and like we said, those players coming back healthy, so it's going to help, but you still put in a little work to do that. Trade Benjamin and a third for Melvin
Yes.
Gordon. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay. Synchronicity. Robbie, what should I look to get for Baker and a rebuild? QB friendly scoring.
You know those little Debbie zebra cakes?
Like
not the whole pack with the two of them in one, but like if somebody opens one, eats one of the cakes, but there's still one zebra cake left, it hasn't gone stale yet. That's what you want for Baker.
Yeah, he's a quarterback with out of value. Like he's a valueless. I mean, what was Teddy Bridgewater worth last week? That's kind of where Baker Mayfield is right now. And
yeah, we answered that. Yeah. You should look to trade, but don't blow it up.
One way or the other.
Yeah, don't blow it up. I think, but tear up. I
would try and go up too.
Yeah.
Hayden the Rooster. Sorry, forgot I have Dubs, London, and Algier. This is about we had a long conversation about his team and his general idea of how he should build. So it's good to know. London's a really good piece. Dubs is a fine piece. Algier, I would look to trade away right now.
Right now. Even before he plays next week. Right now. He just came off an 89-yard. Yeah. Yep.
No, you mentioned a bunch of those players, actually. I think we covered. Is he ATM? But no. He's more expensive than a lot of players I would put in that category right now. And he's not someone I'd look to buy for future value because he's a running back who doesn't have.
He was a sell high after his videos, like that was like after he came back and was doing.
Remember when we got those right? Remember the off season when all this was easy because nothing happened and you knew the schedule, beautiful. You knew when people would do things. In season's so crazy.
Yes, and we told you he's not a buy low. I don't think he's a buy low. Like. So ETN.
No, did I go in hard enough on the Bateman take, or should I?
ETN was my running back 5 in his class, maybe 4. So like that was I had Najee and Javonte Williams much higher than ETN, and then it was like he and Kenny Gainwell were pretty close.
I don't think he's who you want him to be, even if James Robinson wasn't there. That's where my conviction is. That's why he's not like even a Javonte Williams level running back for the future kind of a thing. Like I don't see it. I think James Robinson's good. Don't get me wrong, but is Bateman for Cooper paying too much or too little?
Too much.
In Dynasty, that's too much.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, like points wise, I'd rather have Cooper, but it's too much, like for the value.
Like in Dynasty, I'm trading Cooper for Bateman, but that's because Bateman's value is wrong and Cooper's value is also wrong. These are both players I would trade for, in other words. But that's too much. I want Bateman all situations in that trade. Woo!
Peter.